dimension, time, and space. And I always do that because if you just go look at it, we're gonna get something, don't we? And like, guys, I want to tell you something. It's Deadpool 3 with Wolverine in Marvel, and they have a new character that I'm not gonna tell you too much about. I haven't seen it. I just seen him in the advertisement. So now back in Texas, where it's sweating, back over there, we're in Arkansas, bro. You go out there with the college football FBS station. I ain't playing game with you. We got the whole stadiums. So now I sound like I'm Mr. Bane. But I'm not Bane. I'm Bane's like brother. It's like, hey Bane, what are you doing out there? It's like, come on over here, bring it in, Mr. Bane. And he's like, come, he's swinging, and I'm like, when I tell him he's swinging at me, and I'm like, acting like I'm Batman, because we jump from Joker to Bane, and Bane's swinging at me, but right before he's about to swing at me, I'm like, hey, come on over here, bring it in. He's like, am I gonna take an order from you? And he's like, I'm not taking order from you, I'm your brother, but I'm not disappointed in doing all that villainostrophe. And he's like, well, where do you get the license to do all this, Mr. Pablo? It's like, have you seen Fortnite tank battle mode, where they gave the tank battle like 10,000 HP to each player squad mode with squads? Dude, that mode could have been for like 3 days if people kept playing around competitive. Would have been funny, bro. Maybe a little bit less HP because people get a little bit tired and frustrated really quick. But tank battle it was squads, and your players each had 1,000 HP. It was like Thanos. It was the same HP as Thanos, basically. So, what I want to tell you guys is like when you make sure that you get something, and it's great. Today's the day the real like premiere stop of Deadpool 3 that we've been doing. What if? Well, guess what? We have been doing something that hasn't been technically done before. So if you give me a moment with my desk so small. Because if I'm gonna be doing something, I'd rather have y'all look at something that might have you consider my tune on this scale. But that is correct here. Because here, the light is better. But when I say that things are correct, and we're working with Marvel and Deadpool 3 and Wolverine is released in North America in 5 hours. It's Thursday. If you want to watch it on the day that it's premiering, truly it's on Friday. But if you can't wait and you're anticipating on a level and you've worked with this person and you need to go check plans and search, you can go early. But that's still like up in the air about how is the right way to watch it. So when I start to question how somebody's gonna watch it, I start going down to see where Ken is at, and we're still inside my studio at Ken's. And Ken is like telling me through these awkward scenarios that we may not be able to watch it the way that we watch it, but he's saying that that's what he's gonna do. But I'm like, brother, let me go and tell you something. Even though you're not Bane, come on over here. Let me tell you how you're not. He's like, I'm out here in peace. I'm like Tarzan. He's like, Tarzan, you are able to be in the civilization. I'm trying to get a time and date on him. He's like, are you gaining data on how long I've been out here? Because you're basing upon me being Tarzan and knowing the movie. But he doesn't know that I've watched the physical one. And he's like, well, where's the physical one? And I'm staring at it. And we're out in the woods still. And he's like, brother, listen, man, you've gone out here not looking for a diagnostic. But it's like, at the same time, I have a diagnostic on my battery on my phone. That it seems like my phone battery never goes away. So all this streaming and stuff, it's called What If, remember? So now my phone, we ain't got no, like, worries about it. Because, listen, when I bring y'all in here and tell you how to do this, let me tell you something. When you have this communicational device, you want to make sure that when you have this and somebody's trying to make light out of something, well, let me show you how to do that. So when you've gone so far distance, and then there's something like, hey, a welcoming home celebration, let me tell you, bring it in. So once we were back out there, we're in the woods, and basically we're Ken from The Hangover. I'm not here to give y'all a lecture too much, but I can give you a frustrated announcement, because this is what I act like sometimes, a frustrated announcement about one of the greatest movies that should be coming out. And it's like frustrated now. It's just like, man, I'm a little bit upset because my movie that I've been waiting to premiere is coming out tomorrow and I can't wait anymore. So I'm going to run myself on Thursday to watch it. And it's like, well, what's the right and legal way? It's the right way. You ask me that question, I'm going to give you the correct answer. It's maybe not it's always the right way. Because if in the sense of things, it's like, why would you want to get involved with somebody who's going to question you? So when I start talking in these different accents and get you throwed off and stuff, I still got my base. So I'm like this. Alright, so we're about to play tank battle. And the thing is, I have like this incised head on my stream, but it looks like I got a big head. I'm looking at, hey, have you played the game where you Smash Brothers? And they got the good vegan burgers now that they've changed and stuff. And they're like, hey, let me do it. It's like, well, guess what? I've been put into that one, Super Smash Brothers with Capcom. And now I'm running around and I'm like, Capcom, I have yet to even indulge into Capcom. I haven't even gone in there yet. So what we're going to do is maybe go do some research on it with my computer or laptop here. Because I have such big spacing. And since I'm spaced around in here, and it's like, hey, well, welcome to my space. And it's like, hey, who could that be there? And it's like, hey, let me bring you something on. This is something on, bring it on again. Let's get the cheerleaders and stuff and start dancing and stuff. And it's like, well, have you heard about the guy outside that's out here trying to make sure everybody's considered, like, legal in the Marvel Universe? And he's like, I work at the Marvel Universe's and DC's immigration department. And I'm like, dog, you work at the who, what, when, and where's department? That's impossible because immigration, people transcending into other realms in Marvel Universe, it sounds like a hellhole of a job, man. He's like, I don't get off the computer anytime. I'm just having to put people in because they're just like, what? He's like, I'm just like, he's like typing and stuff. He's like, I'm like, brother, you need to take a little break off here. Let me start doing it. It's like people start getting jam-packed outside. These are superheroes walking into my building trying to act like they're immigrants with nothing in the building. So I'm out here trying to type in everybody's situation. It's like, well, now it's like a year later. The guy's still taking a break. He said he's coming back and you got to hold it down for a little bit. So I'm like, what in the world, man? So I'm so positive and I don't have anything to argue. It's not so bad when things are looking good. But he's gone on and take a break. And I'm like, bro, when does your break end? What is your time? And I'm over here doing immigration for superheroes. And we're working at the boys and stuff, and the boys are the ones trying to get high claim. And they have it right now because they're working with Amazon and Twitch. But there's these guys coming in, they're like, hey man, I can do warehousing at the distribution center. I'm like, dude, you can lift 10,000 pounds and you're willing to work at this for just this thing. He's like, I'm like, dude, I've become like your cast stars, man. And I'm like, I'm not like playing football right now though, other than the CJ Stroud and everybody at the Texans. And basically what we got going on here is that like when you go through those revolving things and you run as fast as you can, make sure you get your things going for a full body exercise, because if you don't train and that comes up, when you get gasped out at the gasping things, like you're tired and stuff, where those people were trying to go and do stadium work. And I was like, what has happened here, man? What about these plans that we have? And basically, I'm trying to throw y'all off right now. I have been here. The movie is coming out in a few hours, but my time happens to be a little bit different compared to what y'all think it is. So the thing is, like, I have yet to watch the movie. And there's people that have paid to watch it, possibly like the legal way, maybe out in another place. But I have yet to watch this movie. I start to question things. Who, what, when, and where. It's like, what if? The what if society is a very confusing one. So I start talking about Mr. Robot. You heard about Mr. Robot? The one that he's like, he has his kid, it's his son and his, the son and the father. And they're inside of Mr. Robot, and he's like, he's trying to take on like Lex Luthor now, because he's like, Lex Luthor seems to have said these people are plural level things that know how to fall down while they're descending. And he's like, I don't think that's going to be happening in my universe. I'm not no villain or nothing, but that doesn't mean, that means I need someone needs some psychological help. So I send him to the psychological department where Lex Luthor's not there anymore, and Mr. Robot is having to act like Mr. Lex Luthor, but he's trying to clear the mess up. He's like, there's a gentleman saying that he's the most intelligent being walking around Superman, but he's saying that people are falling from the sky while flying. So he's like, I'm not no villain or nothing, don't mistake me. But I come and it's like, well, dude, the more you talk about it, it's like, how in the fuck were you able to hack at that system, brother? He's like, I just walk in and do my stuff, and Mr. Alderson does whatever the fuck he wants. Anytime on the computer, you give Mr. Alderson the damn Game Boy, he's gonna hack IT. But I don't know any true hackers like that. We're talking about Mr. Robot. So we gave him a Game Boy, and now he's outside, and people talking about what if, and somebody's like checking in, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's like, well, can I take your job, Mr. We'll go on and start doing it for me. I can take a break. You're not taking my job, though. He's like, what about my titles and stuff? He's like, well, how do you want your certification? Do you want it printed out on the Game Boy? Would you plug it in with the long DVD player? And then you go connect it with an adapter? And he's like, well, I don't mind as long as you give me that certification because I think I can work here for free. And then I'm having a database of superheroes and stuff. And it's like just like you're doing, but you're just helping them and you're not collecting data on them. It's like, well, it's Deadpool 3 with Wolverine, and they've gone through a time corp relationship where this man is now doing immigration. It's like, yeah, I get the immigration because he needs to count everybody that's walking in, but he don't need to really do that. These people can be freely going in and out. Because the thing is, that door, he's still arguing on the side with somebody about, can we get the door open for these people so I ain't got to type all this stuff up, brother. And he's like, well, get some gigs. Where we're going, we're just sitting here trying to do immigration for superheroes that got all these abilities. And we're out inside the boondocks now. And it's like we find out that this person needs to go and check in for like a probation department. And I'm back at this probation department checking this person. This person has to do all these significant trials and stuff on that day. And I'm like, guys, how can this get any like troublesome here? And it's like, well, this person that's doing that is looking out for the people that are doing stuff in here. And it's like everywhere. He's like, I feel kind of awkward for you having to check the scenario out. So let me turn on my audio and record this. So people start wondering and peeking their heads in. And I'm like, goodness gracious, where is this happening at? Back in the day, there was a gentleman that we were getting through the court proceedings back in the Fortnite game. So when you start telling me, hey guys, we're going to go watch the show, finally I'm here. But the show in the movie is out in a few hours. It's Thursday, the 25th of July. And like, I want to tell y'all something, man. Time has gone on in a different state of matter. The thing is, when you start training and doing things right, you have to make sure that when you're streaming, you're live feeding everything. Nobody's giving me a script here. This is all off the dome. So how can somebody do this? Let me portray a scenario where we're doing immigration. And then I take this thing where we go down the straight path, and it's like the narrow path. You keep going there, and you're going to find yourself on a path that runs into some railways. But that's the thing, when you have somebody that's, listen, man, you're going out and trading, and y'all have like trading cards and stuff, like who's allowed to do that? And it's like, well, have you heard of Shamu? Shamu was supposed to be really caught and released, but somebody went and lied to him because he was like, well, I'm here to just be, and he betrayed people betrayed Shamu. So Shamu goes over here and causes a ruckus. So now we're with the Miami Dolphins team trying to get Jim Carrey out of the scenario where he having to be the pet detective all around the world. And there's pets out here stealing parents' phones and stuff secretly and putting it back, moving stuff around. I'm trying to find it. But there's a thing moving his phone around. And it's like, who's doing this? It's like, well, there's a pet detective somewhere. And it's like, where can this pet detective be? Because if Pablo is not able to locate who is taking his phone and moving it around and stuff, he's going to have to hire Ace Ventura to come to the pet detective to figure out who's doing this stuff. Because somebody's streaming on my phone, and I find out who it is, and we're going to have to call to the back to the training sessions and stuff. And one day I'm like, who's this texting my phone and vibrating my desk? And it's like, let me tell you something. Is there a hacker out there that knows how to do stuff with wisdom? And it's like, yeah, with wisdom, without having to steal anything. It's like, is there such thing as one? Because a hacker takes and steals information right away. So what's the plagiarism about it? It's like, what's the plagiarism? That's a big deal. You can't be just teasing people about plagiarism because that's considered stealing at another notepad. So I'm over here riding my police, and we're over here in the Goku's market, and they're jumping from planet to planet to look for the super balls. And I'm out here, and I'm like, brother, come on over here. Let me tell you more about it. So when we're doing this and we're out here playing games with the Dragon Ball Z, but the thing is, it's called Super Ball Z because there's no dragons. There's no dragons right now. They are out on another perspective right now. We're out here. They're probably taking a nap. Even though it might be a blizzard out there and they're cold-blooded and warm-blooded, they like to be outside, but it's cold outside, so it's all like, hey, are we in season 8? And I'm like, season 8 of what if has just begun. That's in the future. Right now, we're in chapter 1 of it, and we have endless amounts of ability. Because if Deadpool 3 goes in there and does the time stuff, we have an exploit into where it's called universal travel. So now we have Marvel connected with DC, where it's like, hey, how does this happen? So now Wonder Woman makes an entry again. She's like, hey, I hear that there's some negative stuff going on around that side of town. And it's like, what side of town are you talking about? Because I ain't got nothing around me like that. There was somebody saying that they were doing something and they had like Mountain Dews. And I was like, hey, how do I get one? And it's like, well, listen to me. I got that. We have what we need here. Everything I need. So all I have to say is like, hey, where do we go for quiche and powder? And quiche and powder, so it's like those waffle fries. Remember what's that stuff called? The waffle cakes that you funnel cake. So it's like, yeah, well, let's go over there to the place where they got the rollerblades too, and maybe like not go in front of everybody and do this. Well, she's like telling me, hey, where are you? I'm just telling you, like, I'm not gonna disclose disclaimers. Have you heard about what happens to somebody that says something about a disclaimer? It's like, well, guess what? I have confirmed. I've gone and put something down for you. Let me tell you about it and tell you more about it. We'll bring it in here. We have more discussions about it. So when we had all this time and stuff to get this reevaluated, we're just like, hey, how do we do this to stay content? And it's like, well, guess what? Let me tell you more about it. So now I'm laying there in my office and I'm like, hey, we're sitting here, and the more time I tell y'all about what we're doing with What If, is the more time I'm telling you how my accent might change throughout time. Because if I'm talking like this and we're having to eat these every single day, we're going to not have too much trouble. But if I want to go somewhere else, I'm going to have to adjust to societies. So if this sounds off like my accent, don't get too thrown off because y'all already know. But what's going on if you really know? So one time I'm over here, we're on the immigration department inside doing the Elvis Presley. And it's like, hey guys, well y'all have gone on here. What have y'all done here? And I'm like, these people are not superheroes anymore. They've gone on and infiltrated the ground. And I'm like, somebody's knocking on this door, and I'm like, hey, where did y'all come from? It's like, well, they're like in between two land masses. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That can't be happening here. And I'm like, whoop-de-doo, whoop-de-doo. And it's like, that's not going to take my attention for anybody's sake because I'm sitting here. That's not my doing. So I'm like, hey, go on and not do. I'm not here to promote too much on that side. So I'm wandering around. It's like, how close can I get? Because I'm sitting out here on the other side of Texas and on that side. And I'm like, hey, we're in Texas now. And it's like, how are we doing that? It's like, well, when you bring out the books about lectures and tutorial items, I'll tell you more about it. So whenever you get to it, let's get more into it. So based upon Deadpool 3 and Wolverine, they have a new character coming in that I don't know if he's gone on and did something with Lady. Because guess what he did? He's got something covering his paws. So if you were going over to Wolverine and Wolverine is driving the car because he need to, because he's driving with the claws out. So he's all like driving like this with the claws out. And we have to say, hey guys, where are we going today? And he's like, I have forgot to put my claws back in. You look amazing like this. So she's like, nobody can stop you. But he's like, yeah, my engine block's in front of me, so why don't you go put the one in the Corvette in the back? It's like, how about we switch to a Corvette? He's like, well, Deadpool tells him, hey, man, well, you can go on ahead and drive that, the town car, the Lincoln one. It's like, why would you do that when you just go get one of them police cars that look like the town? What were those secret cars that look like police cars in the back? There's like luxury ones, Buicks. Remember the Buick? I love the Buick still. Bro, where are the Buicks at? I miss those. It's like, well, when you drive a Buick one day, make sure that it's comfortable. The one time I drove it, I was like, goodness me, I'm driving on somebody knows how to drive. And I was like, great. I know, I'm so thankful. It's like, well, somebody's put 100,000 miles on it by now. It's like, is it even like, how do you even get one of those. And I'm like, hey, how do we get it? When it's like, I don't remember. I just remember driving through lights and suns and like clouds and like some misty land when I was in one of those Buicks. Bro, the Buick and stuff. I haven't seen one of those in a long time, except the other day when I was running. And it's like, hey, let me tell you something, guys. There's this whole thing about something back in the day. You're talking about this stuff, like, dude, going out here, hey, what about, hey, let me tell you something. Bring it in here and open the door. We can go in thousands of circles of, like, because that should be thrown into the what if department. Because if you're talking with these people that were doing that, and I just want to set the record straight before it ever changes on the 20th minute, it's like, you might as well put the what if department. And with Seagulls, with my best friends that have been chilling with me recently, because they're the ones that can maybe approach that in a different way and provide a little positivity. And it's like, bro, like going back to a place where like, hey, let's let me tell you something. Do I have to wear my shoes to give you a remembrance day? And it's like the remembrance NASDAQ? It's like the remembrance Dow. And it's like, well, do we go there? And it's like, hey, come on here, man. Bring it on in here with the schedule. And it's like, hey, I got a schedule for you from the warehouse. It's like, how far do I have to go to be like, bro, don't put that song on my phone, bro. Not you, but whoever did that, you got me like in a situation where I'm over here doing what if for billions and trillions of dollars, dude. So now it's like, but what is that? How is that going to get the credit for this? And I'm like, that's not the thing that's going to get the credit. It's just somebody knows how to do stuff. So I'm talking about Mr. Alderson. Where could you be? Because when put my freaking phone, put that song on my phone, bro? Twice. It's something like these keep happening. But I'm like, you can't work that one. Because that one, we don't work on that department. We're at Nordstrom now and changing into JCPenney's. But at the basic sense of things, JCPenney should be like Louis Vuitton, but they got it all configured like we lost our mind. Just because JCPenney's out here distributing all these luxury items for thousands of dollars cheaper, and they have minimal coming out because they're getting their pickaxe out and they're getting their needles and they're threading everything, and it takes them ages, but this person's just out here giving out ideas, but he's doesn't mean he necessarily got to do it cheaper, but doesn't mean that that's how it works, because marketing in a different advantage. It's like, hey, yo, if we're going to go ahead and watch Deadpool 3, because that's not something that we're not going to be avoiding. And it's like, this is the Super Bowl. So now the Super Bowl special teams comes in, and they're like, hey, I'm going to go and block this, man. They block it for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's like, wait, how are they called the Kansas City Chiefs? It's like, because in Missouri, where it's M.O., there's a dude, Pablo Murillo, maybe been around. He's like, well, how does he know that? Well, that's my last save if you go and check my streams. So I got nothing to hide. So what I tried telling you more about, hey, where do we go about this? It's like, hey, you might as well check me by saying this, but not with that one. Dog, whoever did that, whoever is out here infiltrating and getting on my phone and changing, putting music and stuff, dude, those titles mean a lot to me, man. Those words mean a lot to me. So when you put something that makes me consider, and I right away wonder, it's like, brother, I have driven, continuously for just to almost say, I ain't, it doesn't matter if they're out here moving me around tectonically, where I'm going to tell you, I don't know, because what are we going to do? There's somebody, why are we doing it like that? Because somebody's gone in, like when I'm taking a nap or something, and put my phone and put a song title. It's not like, it's common words. It's common words, but they put together, they're kind of a disaster. So it's like, wait, it's like, do I go and do, it's like, where do I go? Because what do I do to tell you that maybe these are the wrong guys to be asking Cupid about, do they not save this girl like J. Cole's talking about? But it's like, we're out here, no one's in danger. It's like, where's my girl? I haven't heard from her in 5 minutes. This dude's driven 2,500 miles to make a statement here. So he's all the way driving, and he's still got this thing. And he's like, you know what, at one point, I don't even care about all my blogs. I'm still going to get things figured out. He goes all the way over there, gets the thing, and he's like driving fast and stuff. And he's like, how does he get his car? He's texting his girl. She's still in the shower or something. He's like, hey, I'm out here getting things going. And it's like, she's like, prove it. And I'm like, well, I'll go ahead and prove it. I took a snap photo of it and put it on her internet. And she's like, where's that? It's like, how do you know where's that? It's like, why are you asking me? You think I'm out here getting metal tectonic plates and able to paint it faster than whoever's putting them on there? And this ain't a competition. I signed an thing one out. And I was like, hey, well, there we go. So I started running around, and I was like, hey, and like people are still in shock that this man has gone the distance to say, hey, why have we maybe let me get the door for you? Because when I have questions about getting the door and stuff, like, hey, dude, where can we have gone? It's like, well, consistently, you have to wonder how to go. So it's like, well, then I have to go and get things situated in a scenario. So it's like, hey, where do we go for all this? And it's like, well, nobody really knows how far the distance is. So it's like somebody want to go and do stuff on my behalf without somebody's permission. And she's like, hey, give me a moment. This dude's playing football. He's out here playing NFL football. And this dude comes in on and makes an appearance, tries to catch the ball with his rubber hands. He's got mittens on, and it's his dog running at 2 pace. And he's like, hey, I look like this now, but one day when I take these gloves off, we get everything figured out about the girl I care about. And I'm like, well, you care about her? It's like, I do too. But not that I care about her. I care that you care. It's like, we care. And it's like, do we go and ask about the negative? And it's like, well, can we go to another branch of the executives and like be like, can we change stuff? Because you might as well ask that question on another playing that scenario. And I'm like, bro, and I'm out here, it's like, hey, well, guess what? Is this going to be this way? And it's like, well, does he have any recourse about this? So I give my friend a situation at the department store, and he's like, Nordstrom with the common sense outside, because my girl looked like a model. And it's like, well, I don't need excusing in the scenario, bro. I don't care if she is not that. I'm here to give you a discussion of like, I'm not saying she isn't. I'm saying even if she wasn't, I would be nice, because I'm not mean about these things. And I know, so we're out here trying to get this situated. It's like, hey, maybe somebody might need to get a Hallmark card from Walgreens at CVS and say, hey, write this in cursive, because we don't even know who put that on my phone. So if you're out there, whoever put my phone on and put that freaking song, man, I start questioning, man. I start doing police work right now, and I'm like, hey, who put that song that's really like, I don't know if, like, I've been, basically, you might as well tell me I'm running around with the bootstraps with the military soldier saying, I don't know what I've been told, I don't know left and right, and it's like, that's not what I'm, it's like, where are you taking me here? How far do I have to go to an ice skating ring and be like, hey, man, that's a place that we went on the tour dates. And it's like, well, do we question all this time that I've been doing this what if? Dude, I've been gone in and put broadcast, bro. Yo, dude, if I go out here and I remove them, not that I'm going to delete them from existence, because I'm still here, but if I remove them from Twitch, y'all don't be getting all worried on me, okay? Because y'all can just maybe say something through the ladder. When you write that letter and you put it on the envelope and you like, dog, and you don't go on and do the way people have been normally been taught, because you don't know if there's diseases out there, and she's out there saying there's something like this going. She's like, hey, I got nothing to tell you. There's this. Like, what frick is going on? And it's like, let me tell you now. I'm gonna clear the air. What is going on here is that I have been online streaming, and somebody has gone on and infiltrated my phone one time, and they got the whole house at one time, and they put on the song, and I was like, what is this? I never asked for this. I never. And I'm like, goodness me, who did this? And it's like, well, we don't need to go into the who's. Not in that particular matter. In the sense of things, it's just like who, what, when, and where. It's like, maybe I should take a nap, because we don't know where we are in the sense of time and space. Now we bring it back to Fortnite, and it's like, hey, I got the time stone, and I'm like, it's Destiny's on the rise, and I got the freaking Infinity Gauntlet. Y'all ever play that mode? Well, I'll tell you about it right now. I got me one of the gauntlets one time. I got me one of them gauntlets one time, one of them on Fortnite. It's even on my stream too. All this crazy stuff, tank battle, then gauntlets, the whole game. I had it. I scrimmed with them. I picked up the gauntlet one time. I was floating with the butter stick, and I was like, the butter stick slipped. So it's like, and then it's like, wait, that didn't get online. And then I was like, there comes a little thing. It's like parachuting. I'm like, where's it going? And guess what? It lands right on me. And guess what? I got me the Infinity Gauntlet the entire game. I scrimmed with it. At first, I'm taking people on like I'm headstrong and take you on. I'm like about PK, like we're in RuneScape. Next thing you know, I'm like, dude, I'm about to not lose my skin. I'm about to go chill out in the Alamo, but it's not the Alamo. It's a farm, but it's not called Angry Orchards yet. It's called what is it called? What is it? What is it called? Oh yeah, Anarchy Acres. And I'm like, at Anarchy Acres, that sounds like a place that I probably would avoid plenty of time back in the day. But since I'm Thanos, the dude that's got this Death Star on his gauntlet, and it's the one that doesn't work well. People are not even using the thing. It's like, and it's just like a thing, and he's like, I've gone and made a mistake to get this one. So now when he shoots it, it only hits for like a stormtrooper's amount of time. So people aren't really using that one. But I'm out here making signs on the ground and floor with the Infinity Gauntlet in the game, and I'm like, and it's like all these stables, and I'm like, why the long bases and stuff, because no one's inside. And I'm like, where is there a sign of liberty of life? And it's like, next thing I know, I hear somebody going, and it's like, who could that be? And I turn around as Thanos. I got the gauntlet. It's like, destiny's on the rise. I keep saying that. And that's what it was saying. So then I consist in wondering, it's like, how did I get from here to here with the moving of the Mandelas? And I was like, hey, come on over here and bring it in. Let me tell you more about something that's going to be on Duncan's commercials. Tim Duncan makes an appearance as one of the greats. It's like, how do I tell these people that the thing where it's like, hey, don't put that on my phone, bro. It's like whoever that was, or sister. Let me tell you something. If you put that on my phone, I got something to tell you. It's like what if department comes in. It's like, whoa, we're back in the what if, wondering about the one love master that is almost engaged to Cupid. Is out here trying to tell somebody, are you going to go help a loving situation? It's like, yeah, I'm on the way. I'm always doing this. That's the way it is. So when you put a song that might be not like it's emo or like gothic, but it might as well be put in those categories. It's like, well, don't send it my way. You got to send us forward those correspondence down the road, down to where they got these things going. Next thing you know, there's White Russian makes an appearance from the Superman, because they keep getting this thing. They keep calling this gentleman the White Russian. He's just a boat, but he's not just a boat. He's like he's a tugboat. And it's like, well, the banana boat from Smoothie King might be coming back if you got some of them songs you want to keep putting on my freaking thing, man. Because that's not the way it's going to be it, man. The thing is, that's the way I'm taking this is considered high level for me because, bruh, listen, bruh, I don't like removing something offline or anything. I don't be doing delete button. I don't have the capabilities to worry about that too much. And I try to avoid people that press that. So I was like, hey, how do I change this up so where I don't get this thing, but I'm getting on my nerves a little bit. So I'm over here asking the nervous to go over there to get, do I have to do this right now? Because are we going to do this? And I was like, well, hey, let me tell you something. Bringing it on in over here. And I keep asking y'all. I want to clear something up with y'all. If y'all I kept playing with y'all with the let me tell y'all something, bring it in. Because the thing is, I'm not ordering you at first. I'm asking you. It's like, let me tell you something. It's like a question mark. Bring it in. So if you really think that I'm ordering and you're really going to get somebody reaction, like, let me tell you something, bring it on in, and we're taking orders from me, I want y'all to know that I'm out here and I'm not bad like that. But that is a funny situation. So when you see an ostrich riding around, and my friend's wearing his boots, and I'm like, dog, where did you get those boots? He's like, I don't wear steel toes. Somebody's running around. That's why I got my head in the sand. He's like, why you got the head in the sand? I'm looking for some gold. And he's like, what gold are you looking for? It's like, who told you about this? He's like, Forrest Gump came through, and he's like, life's about to get chocolatey. It's like Willy Wonka comes in and sits down with Forrest Gump acting like he's somebody else on that bench. And it's like, welcome to like swamps. And it's like, what are the swamps? It's with the ostriches and llamas. The ostriches have been connecting with llamas, but they're not all the way involved in their tribe of llamas. But the ostriches are almost there because they look so generosity. But they're not the rovers. They're the generosities. And they're like, I got generosity in me, and I'm a llama. And it's like, I got that too. So the ostriches are running, and they're like, hey, can I give you a question mark about, hey, how do I go and do this on the other side of a planetary realm without having to contextually give somebody situations? And then I started consistently wondering who is doing stuff. And I'm like, hey, the ostriches are here. We have to talk to them. Not that they're the bad people. I might be having to be subject to them and having to bring out my sweaters on. Because if the ostriches come on, I need to go put on my high school yearbook photo. And I'm looking like this. And the ostrich is like, say, hey, have you ever grabbed a camera and was like, hey, I'm right here. I'm just an ostrich. And it's like, you're just an ostrich? Let me tell you something about just, man. You come over here and tell me this, I'm going to tell you about a good little bird that comes around looking around. And he's like, hey, my name be Justin. And it's I've had Twitch for some time, and somebody went and turned it on to Twitch. And I'm like, Mr. Justin. .tv, I was one of your current players online back in 2009 and 10. And he's like, if you go on to check my channel, you're gonna see me playing on a boat. And I'm like, I'm not even playing, bro. I'm playing on a boat on the side. You know how like Call of Duty back in 2008, they were like these. You had the airport. You had that one that was a boat, but you never went in the center of the boat. You were in like the edge. You were kind of like at the very when you would go to the front and back of it. That's when you got to like cross paths. But the middle mass wasn't achievable entry point. So, bro, I'm over here trying to stream with my dad, watching Breaking Bad in the back room, and he's over here I'm trying to stream, and I'm like, bro, Dad, why are you watching Breaking Bad on 1080p when I'm out here streaming on Justin's TV? And he's like, Justin's TV? Who's Justin? Bring him on in here, and we'll have a discussion about how we're going to be streaming on this glimpse of a glitch of a movie. And he's like, well, how are we going to do this? Sir, you need to get back to watching your movie because we're not going to talk about Justin. This is just his application. So now people, it's like, well, guess what, Dad? In the future, they're going to call it Twitch. And he's like, I don't want you affiliated with no witches. And I'm like, I'm not no witch. I'm not no warlock. You can go and pass that to the person that when you were trying to put stuff on my phone talking about Breaking Bad. And it's like, hey, guess what? Let me get back in my car. So I get back in my car, I'm driving a Jaguar, and I'm swinging down the street, and I'm looking really good, and I'm starting to wonder, man, when is the time that I begin to start wondering where's my love? And I start singing, and I'm driving with the rap songs on, and I'm freestyling, because I think I'm singing, but it's freestyling, but it's in another place to sing. And I started to question reality. It's like, how are you able to infiltrate me while I'm playing and streaming online? So I left my streaming platform online, and it was like, you know what I needed to do to stream on an Xbox 350 or whatever, and a GameCube. You had to get a Elgato. Dude, back in the day, you needed like a whole new console to stream it online. There was no ether. It wasn't like streaming on Wi-Fi. You had to have a hole to plug in the Ethernet to your dang modem. If not, you're not going to be able to blockly go into where you're trying to say that it looks right. So whenever you're playing, it's like, hey. It's like, well, goodness me, I just got away with something. I got winning. And I'm winning, and I'm on Justin TV. So people want to get confused about how far I gotta take this. It's like, well, now we're playing this game about like, hey, let's get the rackets out. And I'm playing ping pong. And I'm like, how good are we at this game? We need to get this online, but we don't got the whole setup. You need to bring that whole stadium of a house to get a stadium stream like that. Yeah, it's like, how do we do that? It's not a problem because he's already there. He's got his stuff rolling. And it's like, well, I'm still going through time, and you're out here doing these, like, boom, 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 boom. Let me get to work right away. And it's just the way time goes. That was an alarm clock presentation. So when you start to wonder about when you get your compass out and you're trying to drive a Jeep to see where you're going to get going, and we're trying to see where we're going to try to find people that we care about. And that's what I'm trying to say. So anybody trying to put like, hey, what's so wrong with doing check-ins and stuff to see who we care about? It's like, it's not so bad when things are looking good. It's like, no matter what the situation is, no matter who we are, no matter where we are still going to be good. So whenever we're here and we're streaming and we're like, yeah, I'm actually playing Call of Duty, even though I don't really endorse kids playing those games, even though we're streaming on IRL, which is completely not what Justin TV was really kind of not doing back in the day. Because if you wouldn't get nobody if you were just talking to Ninja's face, remember back in the day, you had to have like you were needing to get Nuketown. You had to go off, man. You had to continuously go off. You had to get like 20 no's. And I'm like, 20 and 0? Are we playing the weekend league in FIFA after they took out Real Madrid as a starring team? Remember when we were playing FIFA World Cup and dude, what in the world? I'm out here training my entire life with Argentina and I'm playing with Portugal and Argentina because you got Messi and them. But Argentina is a fully stacked team, but you got Cristiano's team, but you can take on everybody with Cristiano. Dude, I was ranked like #1 in one of the years, man. Basically in the Euro League 2008, you go look at my character, you're gonna see that boy is so healthy. He's gonna be on there. That boy's so healthy. He's #1 on there between #1 and stuff. They may have changed it between now and then. But then it's like, yeah, well, guess what? That's where I was. So now I'm over here training to play FIFA, and I'm playing with Real Madrid, we're playing with Brazil, and all of a sudden it's like, yo, y'all gonna have to pay for those Real Madrid. Y'all gonna have to pay for Brazil. It's like, bro, please, I'm gonna go on and beat y'all with an 80, like a silver rated team then. And then I'm like, this ain't right, man. My players run around like he's a center forward, and he's Sergio Busquets in the front. It's like, what's this? It's like, well, we got to make some movements on this teams. So I'm like, hey, so let's do this and bring it in here. It's like, but why am I paying to get into the tournament? And I'm playing with all these accounts that got like 80 accounts if I fail to get on the weekend. Like I'm playing 40 games on each account. I'm like one of the greatest to ever play. And it's like, what has gone too far with this game? At one point, it's like, hey, how do I get that free? And it's like, well, you play all these. I can't tell you that's the truth back in the day. You can't necessarily get those players for free. Because if I'm one example about how you don't get, you play 40 and O's, you remember the 40 and O's you got to qualify? And it's like, dude, well, guess what? You got to qualify and then get 40 and O's. Then you got, if you make a mistake on your way to 40 and O's, you want to get top 100. You got to go do these things. But I take it anywhere. I don't got to tell you to stop there. I'm going to tell you we got to get moving. So we got the formations and tactics and set up. It's like when I asked for using Paul Pogba, it's back in 10 years ago. It's like Paul Pogba is still getting on the Manchester United team trying to come up. And it's like, hey, Manchester United, I normally pick Argentina to play because Argentina will go on and win with Buruchaga. And it's like, hey, how many infiltrated what ifs are going to happen? Because you want to go and talk about what season we're on. Of like, hey, passenger, let her go. And I'm like, passenger, let her go on my phone, bro. I'm mad at passenger. I ain't mad at them. But the fact that somebody, because you know why? Because I have empathy, sympathy. Somebody has gone and said, hey, I need you to get on this song radio back in the medieval days. And they were like, what do you mean, man? We're knights in shining armor. We don't need to be doing this. We go and save princesses and stuff. He's like, well, we need you to go and do something for this song. But it's like, I don't hear those lyrics. So we're going to go ahead and put a piano in the front of the beginning of the movie to say piano. No. Because I'm not about, what are we going to do? We're like the Squire Knights of love and hardship. And it's like, hey, well, that's why we're back in the medieval days when they had to like, we had the sweet tarts, remember? Where they have to show them how to become better people. And they're like, where are those sweet tarts at? Well, when you're going up an escalator and you see an example of it, you got to be careful to watch out. Because if it's a cylinder scale, you might have some way somebody might try to take this and it's like, I like this thing, I like it that way. And it's like, well, if you go that way, we're going to have to go and see what's psychologically okay. So one day I'm like wondering where we are in sense of things because that was very troublesome because I haven't even named the song. I'm not trying to take it away. I probably got billions of views on that song. And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like those guys don't seem like they're very, like, not that they're not attentive. They're too much attentive. They're like to the point where they're like, dude, I'm not here to sing about against love songs. I'm here to maybe tell the producer and help him psychologically that, yo, man, I got some like time on my hands to tell you maybe this ain't the right way to go. Because this is not the, like, dog, how would you play that on my phone, man, after all this time? It's like, whoever did that, I'm going to have to find out who it is. But the thing is, I'm still in shock. So if we're going to go on this full circles about what if department, go on and bring it over. Because if she's looking that good, you can go and say, hey, Dog, if that girl looks like something what you would imagine, you'd be like, pass. It's like how what? Because like you might as well get like Jiminy Cricket and tell him, hey, go and get the bobsled team from Jamaica that's been training on top of the island. And it's like, well, how much sun do I need to get inside over here? So when it's like, well, the sun's burning my eyes, I can't see. It's like the Jamaican bobsled's coming in with Jiminy Cricket as coach. And Jiminy Cricket's like, hey, man, y'all go and do that. They win the championship. That's Deadpool 3 Wolverine. Next thing you know, Peter Pan makes an entrance, and I'm like, this is beyond legendary appearances. All these people making appearances, it's like humble and about it, and then eventually it's like, somebody puts their foot down and Willie Walk. It's like, hey, guys, I just want to let y'all know y'all can act like these are crossover events and stuff like that with on a quiet squire level, quietly and stuff. But I'm going to tell y'all one thing. This is not necessarily the way it goes in the real world. And he's like, this is not, if you, I went and talked to Pablo about this, and he gave me something to tell you to speak like this. So he's telling me, hey, come on in here a little bit. And I'm like going all in, and I'm like, bro, what you got for us? And he's like, let me tell you something. This might be a Marvel's cinematic crossover pass with DC and all these universes, but normally the price is not going to be this way. Y'all act like this is a nonchalant version of like, hey, we're going to get on this thing. It's like, I'm going to tell you one thing. Y'all think that's not going to be free. And I'm like, what do you mean free? What is that word? The last time I heard somebody even get close to that was Falling. And he wasn't that song with Passenger Let It Go the top 300? And it was like Trojan, and it was like Xerxes, and he was like, I'm a passenger, let it go. We're in the top 300 of the year. And it's like, where's that song at? We've lost it. We don't know where it went because you're talking to a person that's going to be bringing all these things. Dude, I'm not going to be doing this what if thing too long. But the thing is, if somebody got any questions, you're going to have to ask me on another day. So if you want to zoom on in here, I ain't got nothing to hide. I got everything I need. I've been doing this a long time. Don't you remember yesterday? We didn't get off the stream. We were in the chat room. And the gentleman was saying he's going to pirate the movie. I went and said, you want to go pirate a movie? You want to talk about my movie? Go on and tell him something else. Go bring in Wolverine. Wolverine comes in. He's like, yo, Deadpool gets all the stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean he gets all the stuff? I have to remain silent because the police department's on the way. And it's like the police department's on the way. It's like, I'm the police. I don't need to be doing anything. And a dog walks in. And he's like, I'm a canine unit. And he's like, I've been out here doing checks with my glasses on, trying to make sure that everybody's comfortable. And it's like Wolverine's talking with the dog, and they become good friends. The dog's in the back while playing Fortnite, and he's in the back of a van. And they have put up a plasma screen while they're on the way to. It's like, dude, that's a great idea. Why would they have it coming down when you could just put one down right here, like it's like a removable TV? You might as well see a TV flat screen driving on 4 wheels. It's like, well, that's my idea. Well, where's my keys at? So where is it at? It's like, hey, let's go on in here, bring it in here. You think the keys taken away, it's going to stop something like this. We're going to have to double swamp the car and add more units inside. And we start playing video games in the car while we're driving, and all of a sudden there's stuff moving inside my car, and I'm out here like, hey, where are we going? We're going on a ride. We're going all the way to the Oregon Trail, where we're going to start streaming about the Oregon Trail back in the day. So there are people like, wait, how are we out in the Oregon Trail? I'm like in the farmer's market, and I'm like, I find something, somebody throws me something, it hits me in the face, and I'm like, what is wrong with it? And it's like, ah, and I catch it before it hits the ground because I'm a loving person. It doesn't matter if it just goes, and guess what it is? It's peach, in a giant peach, and it's James is having to configure stuff. James is like, here. He throws me a peach and hits me in the face, and I'm like, this is a giant peach, because I try to grab it and I fall down. I'm like, I fall down, and it's like, hey, how come this is a giant peach if it fits in your hands? Here, you try and grab it. It's like a freaking bowling ball. So now I'm like, this is a dense society. I take a bite, and it's like, it never stops. It's just like, it's a giant peach, even though it's a smaller one. And James is like, well, you don't tell me that right now. That's not a giant peach. That's just a dense one. But why wouldn't it be giant when it's like a lot to consume? And it's like it's this breakfast, lunch, and dinner beach. And it's like, well, let me tell you. Let's go inside and figure out the detectives inside. And we find out that Mr. James is living in there under the direction of a parent's house. That's like, how do they get the giant peach? Well, that looks like haunted Luigi's mansion. But they are keeping it up. They keep it intense. They maintain it. But since they maintain it, they get gifted James and the Giant Peach because the kid's so innocent. And now we're running around like James and the Giant Peach trying to figure out where's the department of the head police. And then the dog is out here trying to be like, man, I didn't mind living in that peach. I didn't mind going out there. There's that word Deadpool and Marvel and all that. They're on the scenes. And I'm like, brother, can you go out over there and tell somebody else about how we're going to get to that straight path that people are running away from, because that's not maybe the way we normally do stuff. So I was all like, hey, go back to James and the Giant Peach and tell Tarzan to go in there. Next thing we're in there, Tarzan's already in there with Yoda, and they got himself a little situation. They got a whole setup. I'm late to the game. It's Tarzan and Yoda, and they're acting like they're going to do the commercial that they saw in the future. And he's like, hey, Yoda, this is Tarzan. It's like Tarzan. And Yoda's like, and Yoda takes into consideration, like, whatever, man, but, like, you should have some common decency, Mr. Tarzan. And he's like, have you, and then somebody walks in, he's like, have you seen the guy you were just thinking about like that, Mr. Yoda? He's like, he's out here wearing these outfits, and you're telling him he needs to have common decency. It's like, well, where's you been? Where have you gone, Mr. Yoda? You're supposed to be on the light side. It's like, Mr. Tarzan's out here taking the controller from me. He's trying to make excuses about how he's going to watch his commercial on TV, on the Super Bowl commercial. Back in the day when they were the Redskins. And then the Redskins are online. He's like, that's my team. They're back from the team that they came from all the way from the what's it called? In the Washington. And there he's playing their game. And it's like, Yoda's out here like, he's just like, whatever. He has his eyes like this, like, enough is enough, but I ain't gonna tell him. I'm gonna get him later. So now we're in the future, and we're like trying to see how, if this is a disintegrating peach, but it doesn't, because it's the James and the dying, like, giant peach is not a dying peach. It's the giant peach. It's the ever-growing peach. So it's like, well, when Patrice Evra's out there running around, but I got somebody to replace him, Abidal, that is in Barcelona. He's a left back. He's gigantic. He's like LeBron James. He's the only left back I've ever seen in like 20 years that is any. You know, left backs and right backs in soccer. It's not. It's like they're always like fast guys. Valencia, remember Valencia? Dude, that guy they would actually put him in the right mid sometime. What if you ran into Laurent Blanc playing right back or left back, and he's running at the speed of light, and people are just passing up? They don't even put him as a legend. He's out here he's making space for Samuel Eto'o. Do you remember this Abidal? That guy was like, he was bigger than their center backs playing left back for Barcelona. He's playing with Thierry Henry, and he's gathering space. I'm like, bro, where is his icon legend card, bro? Where is that 6'5" man that plays left back? You never see. I still yet to see. I'm not trying to be like that, but dog, he was probably the same size as LeBron James. Look at him up, Abidal. Imagine LeBron James playing left back. That's when you start getting technical, when you're playing tactics. LeBron James playing left back is like, I don't know if I would hire him, because it's going to be defending my team, because he would be too good. I would have to hire him for a different position, center back, for it to make common sense. But the left back is like, well, guess what? We have all this whole lineup in the back where we're going to get these people going. But that's what Abidal is. It's like, well, guess what? Abidal isn't taking Patrice Evra's position, because Patrice Evra plays right back. And then, well, guess what? I got Danny Carvajal, the one that's got the legend that should be the team of the year, like winner of the Ballon d'Or, yeah. And I was like, and then I was like, hey, well, how about we bring in somebody called Mbappe that's going to be singing Real Madrid non-violin celebration songs. And it's like, hey, Mbappe. It's like, well, guess what? Well, welcome on in, Mbappe. We are not going to be doing the violent song when you score anymore, because you're too positive looking. You know what I mean? It's like, don't tell nobody about where I came from. And I was like, well, guess where I came from? A place that don't be telling nobody about stuff like that. It's like, well, where are you from? It's like, well, I came from a place that maybe has some food for providing. And there was a place where there was like, tell you, have you seen What If? Because if you're gonna catch me talking about this in songs, and we're gonna have to get the what if department again about where I got all these things from. And I'm like, Lunar, let's go and get a lunar reactor. Have you seen one of those before when you're on the lunar reactor and they're having to give you a reaction on the laughing platter? And they're like, hey, how do I move and function without Mr. Pablo come in and give me some non-violent Titanic song? And then like, hey guys, let's do the time. It's like everybody's coming off my Titanic. And it's like, well, guess what? Well, guess this is what I'm trying to tell you. If you want to think that at any moment that we have some sort of freezing cold weather where it's going to be like, hey, we might need to not go because it's freezing cold, but it's like at the same time you may need to put some strength in here. So if I'm talking like, dude, anyway, what y'all want to consider is that, hey, how do we do stuff on a significant level? And I was like, hey, have y'all played Fortnite with the lever action? And I'm like, well, have you heard that the striker pump that's landing at the Mayans? And I'm like, the Mayans, that's an Aztecan. And Aztecan, and it's like, well, I'm not here to be judgmental about who your society is. It's like, well, guess what? I'm trying to come for the Aztecans. This might be somewhere where there's Mayan or something like that that's running around. He was like, mind your own business. And it's like, well, I'm landing where the striker pumps are. So we're like, mind your own business. It's like, that's not even the Aztecs or the Mayans. It's the mind your own businesses thing. And it's like, but that's not the all the way thing because I'm finding a luxury resort thing called a striker pop. Even though it's not the Trojan's best. It's like, we're the best. And it's like, well, let's see how it's Kurt thing going on where he goes and watches things in Tapatinga with Kurt Cans, where he's on YouTube going and talking with me. And it's like, well, he's done it today, and he keeps doing it every day. And it's like, how do we do this? It's like, well, have you eaten at the Indonesian rice place before you get corrected and you go down to Europe and stuff? And it's like, well, I got me a haircut. And it's like, where did you get it? It's like, man, you don't even want to consider me going there because in a sense of weight, yeah, you can go because these people may need promotion. And I'm like, dude, where are you going to get this? It's like, well, I have to tell you another way about it. So how else do you want me to say? It's like, I've gone around the world trying to see people that were looking at the, like, striker pump at the Mayan. And it's like, how do I look? White and blue. And I'm landing on these, and there's all of a sudden, there's this canary. There's this, like, I don't know, what is it? What is it? No, it's not a canary. What are they called? It's the seagulls. They're not seagulls, though. Pelicans. It's a pelican with a blue and spiky Goku hair. And he's like, again, he's got this eye on him. He's like, it's like Yoda is playing because we're in this thing trying to get it fixed. He's out here, it's like, he's not wrong because it says striker pump. It's a pump in the sense of words, like it's a pump shotgun, whatever. So he's out here trying to glorify it because nobody's playing this game because the thing is they took out the pump shotgun and people are out here doing riots and protests because they don't got the freaking the OG shotties and the pump spazz, dude. That's all you need to do to fix the game, bro. That's all you. If you keep the shotgun in there for like 10 chapters and seasons, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be all right. But the thing is, there's now where the thing where I'm letting on this area where there might be something I gotta speculate at, and I'm speculating. Hey, why is there a mind your own business striker pumps? It's like, well, he does have a blue striker pump landing there. How does he keep getting this? He's always getting this one pumps on. It's like he's got 151 pumps. Well, yeah, if you spray them from distance, they go down to 130 or something like that, and you get a striker pump, and you get a white time, it's a one pump. If they're calling you one pumps, I'm like, one pumps are 215 back in the day with the sniper side. And it's like, but guess what? We're back at 130. And it's like, he's got, well, you gone and shot him with the rattlesnake, SMG. It's like, have you come and I lost your mind? Because I got to sneak up on this and one tap him. So I'm standing on the cliff and I got my sniper shotty out from season 1. Right when I landed, I'm hitting like, and I'm just trying to drink my stuff. And I see somebody with my shotgun sniper. And I just get him. And it's like, well, teleport you to this season. We're like, what in the fuck's happened here? I've just gone on and landed on something that may not be the way I can technically go for. But they have a striker pump. So that's where I'm taking. It's like, hey, I'm a season 1 character, recon expert, and I'm out here. I've logged on, and we got no pumps in the game, but he does have a pump. You can't say I don't. because I got me a striker pop. So now you get what I say, because we go to a striker pop and there's tacticals and they're changing. So I'm over here keep getting this like lever action versus the striker. It's like, dude, what would you rather have? It's like, if I'm going to continue playing this game competitively, I would rather have the striker pump versus the lever action, bro. So it's like, hey, let me put the lever actions like this. It's like, why would you want the double barrel with 5 bullets? But like, yeah, why would you want the double barrel right by? Well, guess what? When he shoots and he takes like 30 minutes to record the violin solo, because he's about to go down the Titanic's, bro, because he got to shoot and then reload it in double barrel because he's not even close, bro. Never come back to me, talk about the striker pump later and tell me how you were right about that, because if you break it in here, I'll tell you more about the striker pump. And it's like, well, how do you keep getting the striker pumps? And it's like, well, let me show you real quick. I'm going down over here with this, and I also keep landing in a place where it tells me where my next opponent is. Show me my opponent. They go pull up on the treasure map. It says, where's my bounty? And it's like, how did we get the bounty before Fortnite Jagax in here? And it's like, am I going to get a bounty in here? Next thing I know, I keep finding out who's out stalking me in my game. And I'm like, where are you and stuff? It's like your Jack and the Beanstalk comes in. He's like, I'm growing on vines and stuff. We're in the Amazon style of an area. But it's not all the way the Amazon. It's like a jungle. And it's like, I had never seen something like this before. How much music are you playing? I put up my spider web things. And I'm like, and I'm like, hey, well, I got me the grappler. And it's like, why are you calling that a grappler? That's a spider skin suit attachment. Don't call it no grappler. Because if you're going to go tell me about grapple her, you might as well call Spider-Man talking about, hey, man, are you going to stop going for this girl for 1/7 of a second? And he's like, well, you might find me lost in Europe before that happens. And Peter Parker making interest. He's like, dude, you don't even know what I had to do to be in some of these scenarios where my girl be at. And he's like, well, where my girl be at? I be out there with Batman. He's like, dude, I'm just a little man with spider skills, and Sandman's the size of a building. Have you ever considered the size ratio, how I took him on headstrong? And he comes down, he's all sliding down with the web, and he pulls on the woman and he starts making out in front of me. And I'm like, dude, well, how come you couldn't even wait for me to give you a response? He's like, because that's what I'm trying to tell you. This whole passenger let her go situation ain't gonna have any time in place in my scenario. So we go on, Peter Parker's coming on here, and he's like, hey, I'm Peter Parker with this Peter Quill. And I've gone and I was like, how did Peter Quill meet Peter Parker? But they're going on to the Spider Universe where Miles Morales is being the best Spider-Man in that universe. But they run into Peter Parker that's been running as fast as he can out in Arkansas, the one with the valley. And he's all like, hey, man, let me give you instructions on how to do stuff in the Spider Universe. So it's like, hey, let me go tell you something real quick. Bring it on in here. That gentleman's out here, and he's had a little bit too much when he's running, so he goes and takes a nap, and Mr. Miles Morales is out here giving him like lectures. Can you wake up? And he's like, oh man, I just lost my friend for a few hours. And he's like, I can't go a moment without even my friend. And they're out here trying to play this. You might as well play that Passenger Let Her Go as a title thing. It's like ding ding ding. You ever heard of Star Wars? I was like, dude, it's like the most hype upbeat like for intro, kind of like in a symphony. Well, it's like you played. It's like Spider-Man, and you play the freaking the Star Wars, and right then you cut it off and you put Passenger Let Her Go, and then people are like, what in freaking going on here? Because then you're gonna start getting calming desk reactions from people that are actually like, it's like, what is the lyrics to this song? It's like, how is this the thing? You might as well get your trumps out and say, hey, what are they called? What are they called, man? The trombones, and be like, we're gonna go running and attack somebody and not do what we need to be doing, because that's the way we were raised. So one day I'm out here trying to get things situated, and Peter Quill's out here saying, hey, Mr. Morales, what are you doing out here? That's not my last name. How come you gone and put him out there and didn't say my name? And he's like, well, we didn't want to make conjecture with anything. We have a confectionery level of concepts. And then when you get it like this and you're playing on daddy's levels with egos, and you got these and you got to pass the toast with honey, and it's like honey punches of oats with cereal. We're watching movies and we're like, hey, isn't that the one with James and the Giant Peach? It's like, let me read that in for you. that one right there might be some place I was looking for when I got in trouble with Thanos. And he was like, Thanos, well, yeah, I grabbed me this thing that was out here, and they were just saying I couldn't take it, but I just walked into all these doors without even saying open sesame. He's like, well, have you tried to open sesame before? He's like, well, I tried it one time, and all these doors opened up. And it's like, well, guess what? I'm trying to tell you, there's like some situation where like a moore's going down this thing, and we go and put a net, like, and we're like, hey, there's a spider, and we call Miles Morales. He goes in and talks to his dog mom, and his mom comes out. She's like, hey, what's going on around here? That's my son, Spider-Man. It's like, well, how have you talked to him after you get bit by a spider? He's become a man police officer, and he's like, I'm both of them. I'm his dad now. So let me tell y'all something about it. Bring it in here. Y'all go get in the backseat of my police car, and I'm going to put y'all in jail for trying to not save this girl's existence. It's like, well, what are you talking about? That girl's falling for the water ball. I don't see nobody out here. He's out here trying to train people on how to become better at it in the streets. So all of a sudden, he's like, I don't know any better. Miles Morales starts drawing with the spiders, and he's drawing some nets and saves, and all of a sudden, he is the hero for the scenario, and we think it's Peter Quill. Or Peter Parker and Peter and all these Peters. And I'm like, goodness me, this is going to become one of the greatest movies of all time if it gets like this. If it gets like that. So next thing you know, we got the striker pumps and we're playing and stuff, and I got the grappler out, and all of a sudden I'm hanging from this tree, and I'm like Tarzan, and I'm like, hey, where's the waterfall at? Because I'm out here looking for this girl because I can't tell you about Passenger, let her go. So I'm out here running around looking for this girl that may not have some Mrs. Gamora, but she's not in the game yet. She is in the game, but she's not landed in my ozone layer. So I'm basically going down and I'm swinging, and I'm like, well, where can she be? And I'm like swinging and stuff, and I'm like, dude, some girl's like checking in on me. She's like, hey, Mr. Pablo, can I check on what you're doing? And it's like, well, how do I do that? Well, how do you sound so beautiful? And all of a sudden, this girl shows up, Miss Gamora. She's like, hey, I have said something to you a while ago, and you were wondering where I went. Who is this thing? It's like, well, how do I know who you got going on over there? She's like, well, I'm over here falling down on these things, but I'm not, I'm just ascending. I'm not even pretending to be a ascender. And it's like, well, guess what? I'm going to read that in for a little bit. So we're over here, she's like speaking, like she's speaking Italian when I'm out here speaking Arkansas. And I'm like, well, how have you seen me being good? And she's like, I've seen you been good out around there, North Dakota. And I'm like, North Dakota is an area where I have like to go and research with Ramirez, the one that's texting me on my phone on Fortnite. How did you even enter my competitive reactions? So I'm now speeding in this thing, and I'm in a bull. I'm inside a bush, not a bull. I'm inside a bush, and all of a sudden it's like I'm playing with Buddha and everybody in the competitive. We're out slurping. All of a sudden there's this huge bush and coming at me. It's just like shaking my house in my real life. And then I'm like, hey, let me tell you something real quick. I have a game going on with my friend, and it's like, let me tell you something. Let me see when all these people start coming after your bush where you're hitting like an anonymous player. And it's like, well, let me show you something. And they start going off, and it starts making a tussle and lassos and all these noises. It's like, well, let me tell you something at first. It's like, let me give you a permission to not go all the way to this place. And I said, well, last time that happened, I asked Mr. This, and he was like, how are we gonna do that? And I was like, please, come on over here. This is how you do it. And then it's like we're riding on a bike, and it's like, how far do I gotta go to be like, man, it don't matter how far you've done with me. I gotta go get something for you, Miss Gamora. And she's like, hey, have you heard about my sister? And I'm like, what do you mean? She, why would you bring that up? She's like, because I'm just checking. And it's like, Miss Gamora, last time I heard, I don't want to get too technical with this because your name sound good. She's like, well, Pablo, this is now we're going in the Marvel Universe, and I'm falling down on this thing. It's like, well, you don't not realize that I know that is happening. Look who's throwing you down. It's right in front of your face. So she's like, what is this? I have like concrete this thing to a conspectual anime. And it's like, the animes are going to become like this, but right now Miles Morales needs to do some saving. It's like, don't you realize that we're becoming Sour Patch Kids? And you're falling down onto a Sour Patch Kid that's sweet but sour. And he's gone on with Willy Wonka, and they're making complaints about how they're going to start using Spider-Man things. They start changing the Spider-Man thing to candy. So it sounds like Candy Spider-Man. But Miles Morales is the one out here doing Candy Spider-Man. And that's when he gets technically like unbeatable, because everything he's flying around and people are out here eating his spider webs on the way. So he's out here saving people, and they're taking photos, and that dude that's taking photos, like, man, I ain't even doing this no more. He started to eat the spider's webs, but that's afterwards. That's the leftover, and it's like the thing is, and then he starts going on it, and he's like, you know what, people really like me for my cooking, and I'm like, well, really do. It's like, well, let me go on and start cooking. He starts going like. He's cooking on the plants. He's cooking on pots. He's cooking on every sort of element. There's literally jelly everywhere. Miles Morales is like, hey man, where are we going to learn more about this? And I'm like, Miles Morales, let me bring you on over here and tell you what not to do, because you're actually now feeding this whole area, including villains. And I'm like, I will sit at the same table as the villains. But it's like, who's on here making the schedule for this villain to come into my area? And the Flash comes in, and he's like, motherfucker. Y'all been out here eating like this without me. And I'm like, dude, what you taught me? He's walking around like he's a big sumo wrestler. He's like, I've been looking like I'm fat, but I'm trying to make sure that I can get some food, man. Ain't nobody feed me. It's like, how did you get here, Mr. Flash? I'm in the Marvel Universe. What's the thing title, Mr. Morales? He says. He's like, what's the title? It's like, well, Spider-Man goes across the Marvel Universe and stuff. Or well, across the universes. And it's like, well, guess what? My name is the Flash, and you got the Candy Flash, or Candy, you got the candy webs. And it's like, I'm about to eat some of these while I'm on the way, and you can go on and hold this area down. I got the rest. The next thing you know, he gets a sugar rush, and he's running. He's like, uh-oh, where did I get to? I got to the Looney Tunes circle, where it's like, hey, that's all dough. And it's like, well, that's all the dough. It's like all the dough. There's a bakery man with a gingerbread skin wearing outfits, where he's like, hey, hypothetically, I'm a gingerbread getting baked in the ovens. When I come out, I got my cousin with me, telling me where to go and stuff. He's like, he's learned from a technician back in the lawman neighborhood. But he's like, he tries to act like the technician at the lawman neighborhood. Yeah. Come over here, tell me about the technicians at the lawman neighborhood. The wrong last guy that can tell you about technicians. Like, downplay the technician at the lawman neighborhood. Yeah, you want to find out the technician at the lawman neighborhood? I'm going to tell you something. I'm a guy, if you got it on stream, I got me alive. I actually lava, where I got the whole inventory of what is Fortnite inside one. And I've gone and decreased it to the size of this thing, but he's at the same time, he can become this big, and he's doing frozen moments, and all of a sudden we got the Frozen Queen, and she's inside the game, and she's running around with the silver platters. And she's like, I like these silver platters, but I can't be seen carrying one. And she's like, well, guess what on over here? Let's break it down here. She covers herself in the silver platter, and she takes on 0 Point. And they're all like, hey, this is my turn. She's walking down these stairs, and she's like walking. She's not even, she's descending, not falling. She's just walking down. She's like, I don't know what happened with Chrome. Google Chrome is on. It's like, we have power outages on this area with IT. And it's like, what if department would become sexually not a bad idea when we're trying to wonder where we go? Because where I go, it's like, you might as well cover that with metal, and we get a little hot in there. Even when it's hot, I would still stay. It's like, and there's a song that's called I Want You to Stay. And it's like, but it's not so bad, because if you get Justin Bieber in here, because we were talking about Justin TV, you don't know if it was Justin Bieber or not. And he's like, well, I want you to stay. He's like, he's not saying lonely now. He's singing, it's like we're back in Thanos when I'm playing Thanos. And he's like, Destiny's on the rise, and they've gone on and changed it. I'm like, what am I going to tell you? It's gone on and changed it. And it's like, what do you mean? That's a big deal, because your original version was something I remember. And it's like, he's like, I want to stay. It's like, I don't even want to leave my house anymore. Justin Bieber's in here. And we're like, dude, what are we going to do with this scenario? How are we going to sing love songs and then go out and not do what we need to be doing? And he's like, let me tell you something. We're not doing nothing wrong when we're doing this. So whoever put this on my phone, I'm not disrespectful to singing artists and stuff like that. But whenever I do my things, I definitely don't know if I'm going to be pursuing a career and going, hey, I'm going to be singing love songs and then not doing what I do on the side. Like, I'm like Bruce Wayne, but my name is Justin Bieber. And we're like, hey, well, how much life do you have when you sing? He's like, some people have made love to my songs. If you don't know about it, we've gone on to a different style of movie. And he's like, well, guess what? Where's Miles Morales? It's like, well, he's out here, he's got on a sugar high with Flash, and now he's stuck on Flash, and he thinks Flash is all out here thinking he's gone on a sugar rush. He's got Miles Morales on the back of him trying to act like he's doing nothing, but he's just the gingerbread man in the back. And it's like, hypothetically, I would try to get things going. It's like, well, the Flash is running around, but he's running around with the Flash and the spider webs. So it's a spider web. I'm like, goodness, it's a flash spider web with Candy and Willy Wonka chasing after him down the path of Looney Tune with Michael Jordan waiting to get his head, like head in the game. And the ostrich comes out and he's like, what's going on here? He's starting to walk. Everything is frozen. We're now stuck in the 0 point waiting to queue in Fortnite back in the day where you're like waiting for the next day and it was a complete blackout. Guess what happened? There's an ostrich that comes in and he's like, I got my head out the water. And he comes out and he's like, I was thinking when I had my head in the sand about that shark skin jumpsuit that had the one with the scuba stacks. And he's running around with flippers and he's trying to run as fast as he can on the ground. Have you ever tried running with flippers? So let me get to where the passengers let her go. Let me put my flippers on real quick. And then whenever they think about running on the ground with flippers so I can learn how to like run with like my butt cheeks hitting my heel, and I'm like, well, I'm like this. Let me make sure that I take my time to finish that song before I go on and do this, because we're not going to be doing that around here. So Justin Bieber's like, man, what about the Mr. Flipper? And it's like, well, I mean, you're not wrong about that. Mr. Flipper's not a bad guy, if you've heard about him. He's like, yeah, man, well, let me tell you about that on the other side of the spectrum. Right now, we got somebody going down from the waterfall. And she's like, well, my name could be Miss Gamora, but it can also be something coming down as a Niagara. She's like, now Ace Ventura's out here giving out a little thing. He's like, hey, we're going to give out this thing. He's like, and Bruce, he's in that movie. He's like Bruce Wayne. But he's like not trying to play it out in front of all these waterfalls. And he's like, the weather today at the waterfall is getting a little misty in the meadows. All of a sudden, there's a Valentine's skin that comes in. He's like, hey, man, what you got going on in here? And he's like, where did you come from? He's like, I'm like in Space Jam. This is the only way we can explain how this has gone on in cross-reference. He's like, how are y'all able to do this? There's a pet calling me on the 3D thing. And he's like, where are we? He's like, well, I'm going to have to tell you there's a guy calling right now. It's a Dutch hound. He's like, well, what's he saying? He's like, well, he's about to try to tell this monkey not to do what he needs to be doing and start not getting on that zip line. That zip line they're going to drop him down into where this is like a temple, and it's like where he's going to be sleeping. So we need to convince that Ace Ventura is not going to be waking up in this, like, he's going to be waking up on a tire some way, because he's come on to be like an Animal Kingdom expert. And he happens to know how to indulge in all these things in African cultures, because if you watch the movie, he's got something where he knows how to evolve and go into tribals. So he's like, Ace Ventura, we need to get you. It's Pablo calling his ass. He's like, Pat, detective, I can't breathe. There is somebody out here. There's somebody out there that needs, and he's like, I'm here. I'm here to help you, Mr. Ventura. And it's like, you're about to have a scenario, Mr. Ventura. Don't get on that zip line, because at the same time, you're gonna make that monkey pursue his happiness and be like, hey, brother, we ain't doing that out there. We ain't gonna cross that path. Why would you go from cliff to cliff in Nepal? And Nepal didn't, bro. I wouldn't even go mountain climbing, dog. And if you got stuck out there, you were a baboon, I would be like, man, I would go out there to get you and not cross the thing. I'll come and get you and take care of you. Next thing you know, the baboon's on my back like we're Gingerbread Man and Miles Morales in The Flash, talking with Justin Bieber about love songs. And they're talking about, I want you to stay, yay, yay, yay. And it's like where are we in the studio real quick? So let me get things straight for you. When it tastes like something and it looks like James and the Giant Peach, and he gets it from Florida, but he knows he gets them from Georgia, you need to make sure you know where you get your peaches from. So when you go look at James and the Giant Peach and they're speaking in different languages, well, then you know what? You got to make sure the translations are good. So when now we have Justin Bieber talking with Tarzan inside of this thing, it's like, where are we going to get this situated? And it's like, where are we going to get situated? It's like, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter, because the thing is, the final result is like, whose darn did this thing? And it's like, beep, bop, bop, bop. Giants are rocking it with like the New York with Eli Manning. And Eli Manning is like, I got to get this win. And he's like playing against Randy Moss and Tom Brady. And they're like, hey, Tom Brady, I'm Randy Moss. I'm the best wide receiver you're going to run into. It's like, well, that's how he talks in a way, but he knows how to keep it straight, because he kind of came from a place that I've been telling you about. So we were riding and stuff, and we're the best. And Randy Moss is trying to catch the ball with Tom Brady, and they got 400 touchdowns in one season. They broke the record. They got an undefeated season to prove it. They got Eli Manning. He's like, hey, brother, I'm not going to lose to Peyton. I can't have it. He's like, how do you mean you lose to Peyton? He's like, if I lose to him this title, Peyton is going to talk to my father, Manning, and tell them how I lost the Super Bowl. He's like, how am I going to win this, Peyton? He's like, Peyton knows how he gets unorthodox style wins. He knows how to get it right. He knows what he's doing. He got Marvin Harrison Jr. in the past. So when we get everything situated, Marvin Harrison's cast and stuff, he's like, well, when I was Marvin Harrison, he one time said that he had something going on with his ankle back on the left side, back in when he was growing up to becoming something that he was going to become a wide receiver in high school. And one time he was having a Wrigley's, he pulled out one of the things and it was a zebra. And he was like, hey, man, what could this be right here? And I'm like, well, we can go on in circles about it, but we the walkers out here to give me tridents. And it's like, what do you mean giving you tridents? This is how you catch the ball. And it's like this. And he said, try trading with 3 fingers. And he's all like you're a claw man. And you're like this. And Marvin Harrison starts trading with 3 fingers on each one. And it's like, well, guess what? Marvin Harrison isn't on Eli Manning's team, but you have Plaxico Burress, which is out there. And he's like, hey, I don't have time to be training with 3 fingers. I got time to get this thing fixed. And Plaxico Burress is like, pass me the ball. I'm going to catch it. He's gone on and talked to Willie Wonka about he ain't got no time for all this bitterness. And I'm like, bitterness? It's like, well, Tom Brady's about to win the rugby. I don't know if I can take this. He's like, who are you to say? It's like the only person called on Willie Wonka. And it's like, well, Willie Wonka gone on and put a gum stick on top of Plaxico Burress' head. He's like, go back out there. He don't even know it. He's like, I don't know if I can help too much because I got some other fixtures to get going in the stadium. And he's all like, I'm feeding people all these candies. These people out here eat popcorn and sausages. I'm like, well, at my stadiums, we eat candy. You don't want me to call Flash and Miles Morales out here. He's like, why wouldn't I not want that? Well, guess what? If you want that, you can have it. We ain't got that. It's like, how you want it? And he's like, he don't tell nobody, but it's like, how you want it? Wonk. And it's like, well, guess what? Go on out there and get that ball from Eli. He's going to throw it down. So he throws it down. Eli catches it. And he's all like, hey, Eli throws it. He catches the ball. And he catches the situation because Tom Brady is going to get, he's like, hey, you're going to give Tom Brady another run under 2 minutes. Let me tell you something. Bring it in here. That last time that I had Tom Brady, there's people that got like 2-minute ratios that are negative. He's the opposite. He's got a 2-minute ratio where it's like, dude, if he's got the ball at 2 minutes, it's like training camp with one of them sticks with your baseball bat and you're training. And he's all like doing this, and like Tom Brady's about to throw the ball. So it's like, Eli's like, can we do something about this? Who can we call? We call Plaxico Burress. That's trying to convert all these things into currencies. And I'm like, Plaxico, you need to get this going and catch this ball. So next thing you know, he's like, I'm desperate for you to catch this ball. And he's like, well, what do we do? Call the Desperados, and they're dancing on top of the Space Jam Cowboys Stadium. And it's like, the Space Jam Cowboys Stadium, which one are you talking about? It's like, I'm a Texans fan. So Plaxico, if you catch this, we're going to go on and read on the woods and over there. It's like, well, when you get the negatives and put them on positives, what is battery? So the battery keeps going and moving, and what if? And it's like, well, if you wanted me to tell you more about what's going on in the future, about what is Deadpool 3 and Wolverine, you're going to have to go up What If for a few hours and see what chapter we're on, because we've already done an episode. So now Grant Gustin comes in, and he's like, well, I need to see this moment with the Flash. He's like, what are you doing with the Flash? It's like, well, there are all Ezra Millers out here trying to juggle the things, and he's like, well, I ain't going to miss this. We're at the Flashpoint Paradox. We're Plaxico Burress is going to get it caught with the Sour Patch Kid. It's not even a gun. He just was like, I don't know why I can't got so Walker ain't got time to talk with him because he got stuff. So he put his like a sour and sweet. If you got any further question, don't talk to that thing. Go talk to this thing. So he catches the ball. He catches it and he gets stuck on a Sour Patch Kid. Now we're in the universe where like, how did it go? In the interview with Plaxico Burress as a Super Bowl champion, dude was like, man, I got shot the other day, and I'm not just being to support this on the Super Bowl. It's like, didn't that happen in the other universe? You got shot after or something? He's like, no, man, I had to get this because I needed to go get my Sour Patch Kids. And it's like, well, dude, how did you get that? It's like, I'm just trying to cover for Wonka. And it's like, wait, get this off the air. It's like, what do you mean cover for Wonka? I got that Sour Patch Kid because he slapped me on the eye. He don't think I remember he tried slapping me. And I don't do them slaps like that because it's my turn to get it on. So we're now doing a WWE slapping contest because Walker's trying to learn all this stuff. Like, where am I doing here? So they're doing this slapping contest, and he don't think I remember that. So now we're in here, and I got a cover for him, and we got to do a slapping contest on the other side. But then there's like, hey, we got pimps and stuff walking around, ain't nothing but a G thing going on. And we're doing stuff, and it's like, well, we're gonna be on the interview. And it's like Kim Jong-un is coming and making interest into this Plaxico Burn situation. He's like, hey, have you heard of Kim Jong-uno? That was the one that you may need to avoid, Plaxico. But he's like, that was my father. He's like, what universe have we gotten into? And it's like, I don't know. We're here and we're just trying to give you a situation, man. It's like Miles Morales and Flash come in, and Miles Morales is still yet to say he's the gingerbread man because he's out here feeding people the things that taste like ginger and bread. And it's all this stuff, but it's just like candy. And dude, the Flash is out here and it's Grant Gustin from the TV series, and then I'm gonna have to call the llamas and tell them, hey, you got the guy working at the technicians department that want to go and tell me about working at the llamas technician department. And I'm like, dude, y'all really gonna think I'm gonna have to tell you more about that? We're gonna have to bring in What If Chapter 14, where we're gonna have to get this like rated R or something, where we're gonna have to talk about discretionary things that I'm not gonna tell you about. Where we're working at the back room with the llamas and the ostrich. The ostrich turns out to be their spy for the ramen makers back where Ken was making stuff, and now ramen is all now changed into from different name. And I'm like, where'd the ramen eaters go? And he's like, well, guess what? I made ramen into sugar. And it's like, what have you done? He's like, I'm learning to be in different universes. My name is Chrome. And she's walking around, she's surfing with Silver Surfer stuff, and Silver Surfer's trying to bop her. And he's like, Bob, it's not happening here, ma'am. So we're now stuck in the flashpoint inside of this paradoxical, like, 0 point, where there's chrome coming out of the wood. So it's like if you see you're gathering all that wood in Fortnite, and you got people coming out with chrome. It's like, where did she go? She made a special entrance, and nobody made it clap to be like, where did that overpowered creature go that went on and took on the entire place? But she was bigger than Thanos, acting like she was going down the stairs, but she was taking the escalators. But she was painted with silver and chrome and grayscales. And it's like Breaking Bad comes in. It's like grayscale is one of those things that we eat at times. It's like that battered stuff. It's not actually batter, it's just batters that matters to me. And he's like, well, it matters to me because Mr. Pinkman out here trying to get a trade lesson how to cook like Spider-Man out here doing. But they're out here like, hey, what are you doing? You ain't doing this. They're out here, they're getting like turrets and stuff that from the future, and they're putting on back of trucks and they're putting it in front of areas. I'm like, hey, Mr. Pinkman, and you don't go around there. And Mr. Out there, you better be careful, Mr. Iceberg, because you're the one planting these things. So he's like, how am I going to be in danger? It's my trap. It's like, no, just leave it up to me. And it's like, but leave it to Beaver. Because if you're going to leave it up to me, we're going to be wondering where we're going to go for how fast I got to get going, if you understand what I'm talking about in the middle. Because how fast do I got to get going to make sure that I got to make sure that I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So I'm running, but it looks like I'm walking. So people start wondering, where's Miles Morales in the Flash? Miles Morales is in Plaxico Burns, and it's like telling him, dude, hey man, I made a mistake. I'm out here doing all these things with my things, and it's like, I can't stop, man. I'm looking for my girl, you gotta go backwards. He's like, dude, I ain't going backwards. You heard about what happened last time I went backward. There was Savitar. And it's like Reverse Flash came before Savitar. Man, Savitar's most recent. And I'm like, Savitar? That's the thing. Well, so he's running backwards. He gets to a Reptar. He's running to Rep. And he's like, Toys R Us is coming out, but they got to act like we're not there for a little bit. So they're running around. It's like tectonic plates are starting to move around. And it's like bang. The stadium is like it's coming apart, but it's becoming elastic. Because the thing is, it's like Plaxico versus Plastic Company in the back. It's like, hey, let's go not do what we did in the other universe, where we did lose the thing, where we were trying to find it later. And it's like, well, what are you talking about? That's happened here. And he goes on and talking about where is that thing that we're looking for. And it's like, hey, well, you better check. And then he better check. And we're out here playing football now. He opens the cap over the helmet. He's like, I don't know what it is. He's got that helmet with the stuffing. He's like, I got stuffing inside. It's like, is this Thanksgiving, vegan style with candy? And he's like, bring that over there and tell me what you got to do with it after you kick it, and you tell me how you were like doing this. And he's like, how are you going to be doing this and telling somebody what to do when you're saying that this is the way, and you keep on saying, come on in here, bring it in. It's like, come on in here, bring it in. It's like, hey, I'm a goalkeeper, and I ain't you come on in here, bring it in. I put my hands in like we're the Power Rangers, and we got rhinos running around with that guy, the gorilla. And then the gorilla's out here, it's like overpowered. He's like doing all these things. He's like, where's the other ones at? And they're running down and they're doing all these beautiful musics and all these stuff. And there's like beautiful music. It's Grant Gustin in the back. He's playing with the songs that they be singing and love songs on that show, trying to be like, dude, I'm the Flash, man. You think I'm gonna not be singing before I enter my Flash interview? And he's like, well, how did you do this? He's like, man, we're out here singing together. And we're all here together. We're singing it like it's a high school musical every single day, premiering at 7 p.m. on what's going to be this on the CW here. And he's all like, well, guess what? Before I get my character straightened out, make sure when you get the movie, you make sure somebody looks at my resume. He's like talking about Mr. Ezra, who's gone out and changed himself from cinematic universe, because my resume, Grant's like, my resume's like this. I'm here karaoke and singing before him and doing all this, making sure that I'm here with my love. And he's all like, Mr. Ezra's like, well, guess what? I gotta focus on myself. And he's got talking with his dude that he's gone on and saved in another timeline that Grant been telling him nicely, saying, hey, man, don't go out and do that because you're gonna cause a time conjecture. That's why he's talking about Savitar. He don't even know about Reverse Flash. So now we're back in the stadium and there's like Reverse Flash coming out because the guy that he's training, because he told him what to do to take his father out of jail. He's all like, I've gone on and made another universe, but Miles Morales is like, this is too sad for me. So what he does is Miles Morales makes a Sour Patch Kid and he puts it on top of this dude's helmet. And he's got it, and he saves the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden, people are running out the jailhouses and out all the stadiums celebrating this celebratory and immigration level catch. This dude has gone on and it did something against Tom Brady and Randy Moss, and you got me rolling with that, because if you got Tom Brady and Randy Moss, and y'all have gone undefeated, but with two players, you got me Blackskull Burris to come in here to burrow this down and go back to the burrow. And it's like, well, what is this? Everybody's gone on to the stadium. They're all there. They're all celebrating. The jail's doors are open. It's like, what's happened here? So Miles Morales has gone all around with the Flash, running around with this thing's going like this. And it's gone on and made a huge little like funnel cake, but it's also like cotton candy. And they're all like happy and happy. It's like happiness is coming to us. We're all like, well, let's go on and pass that on to the world and stuff. They're all like, well, this is all happening while the ball's in the air, because the Sour Patch Kid says, I'm a sweet man and I'm not going to be doing stuff like this. He goes on, calls Willy Wonka at the Wonka factory and says, hey, how about we get some of these guys in the game? And he's like, well, what are you guys are you talking about? Let me see something about that. So now I'm standing on the Moron Mountain with a cigar. And he's like, what guys are you talking about? And he's like, well, why? And I'm like, dude, why are you looking like you came straight out of Space Jam and I don't recognize it? He's like, well, I'm trying to learn more about Maroon 5. And he's like, Maroon 5? It's not even called Moron Mountain, it's Maroon Mountain. And the Redskins are about to be playing on the 2000s back in the day. And it's like, how are you going to log on and stuff? It's like, well, I'm out here doing police work to figure out who's got this. And he's all like, well, let me figure out what's going on. Let me figure who you're talking about. And I start saying, hey, you got llamas and stuff out there. And he's like, well, you got some BB going on out there. And I'm telling you, where do we got the bazookas and slime? And he's like, wait, I ain't got bazookas. I only got like recreational level events where we come together as families and have candy. And nobody has trouble. I bring in my person. One time I was in my stadium, one time where I got a factory back when I was starting stuff up. And some gentleman, I gave him a gold ticket because they think that I don't know who's coming to my freaking factory. And he's all like, I gave these golden tickets out, and one day the dude answers the phone while I'm giving a presentation to my intro. And we're like doing the circus thing about like the Ferris wheel on the side of the Ferris wheel. And it's all like, well, let's go back on the fair play with Tiger Woods, because the guy answers the phone and he's all like, man, did I get drafted into the NFL? It's CJ Stroud talking to my client that's about to come into my factory. And he's all like, yeah, man, the factory guy's still out here broke, that he's about to go into the factory, but that's the reason why he's there. And now the whole situation is that he's become a millionaire based upon the tax transaction that his grandpa was doing in the bed with the 4 people. So it's beyond throat now. He's like, dude, we got something going on, man. We got ourselves a new client. And he's like, well, how much do you get? It's like, well, they want to sign for about like an extended back contract. He's like, what's your percentage on that, Charlie? He's like, well, Charlie, I got me what? He's like, I got a 10% on It's like, that's 27 million, man. You may need to get back on to the office before you get there. All of a sudden, it's like Willie Walker closes the gates, and he's like, listen, man, whatever y'all got going on, you think you gonna get me with this chocolate factory stuff? I'm gonna tell you something. This thing costs more than 27 million. He's like, 27 million is what I got when I was eating on peanut butter this morning. That's when I'm talking about finances. Now you got me working in the factory in the finance department for a little bit. So Charlie's like, well, do I make a choice about going to play football and chocolate during the interruption? And it's like the interruption, that's when somebody comes out of this gate on the outskirts and is like, hey man, I'm out here, I never seen this better in my life, but I eat stuff to live. And you're out here introduction and interruptions and stuff. It's like, you're gonna have to come out here and tell me something about it. Now, well, Uncle's like, hey, he ain't gonna know where I can teach him this stuff, because that's how we do it around here. He's like, well, guess what, man? This is my district. This is my area, my precinct. The judges and everybody's out here at Willie Walker's. They're about, you want to have a conversation about this. Willie's like, man, we ain't gonna be arguing here. We got kids and I gotta feed them. We got places to be. So what we're gonna do is that y'all gonna come in here real quick and we have a discussion about how we're gonna make it out there. So what we're gonna do, Mr. Charles, we're gonna make it look like you got yourself a whole, like a study, and you're gonna make it look like you got all this, but it's gonna be made out of candy. And it's like, goodness me. So now Charlie's out here inside of Walker's factory. He snuck him in. Willie Walker's got it still. He's still named down and darn losing it. He's inside the factory. They should have gone on and did their stuff and figured out and came back within like maybe 3 hours. But the thing is, Walker was like, you ain't going to interrupt my interrupt though. And it's like, dude, my interrupt show. And it's like, the interrupt show is not what I explained, but I want to tell you more about it, so come on in here. So they go on in there, then Alice in Wonderland, she started to drink her stuff. And it's like, I brought you into my factory because you thought you was going to get into my factory after you go disrespectful call during my interruption. He's all like, well, guess what? I don't care. I got to call this dude and close the deal with the first round draft pick. We got these gentlemen coming in. And then all of a sudden, Tom Brady's answering the phone for this gentleman. He's become the commissioner. And he's like, I'm with the Wolverines. And there was the thing about people playing in the Veterans League that they took on for 3 years for something just because there were an excuse about COVID-19. I'm going to tell y'all something, man. Come on, I'm bring it in here. Tom Brady has gained weight. He's like gone and did his great stuff at Wolverines, at the Michigan Wolverines. He was out here going, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go and fix this scenario because ain't nobody coming up my leagues, bucko. And he's like, the buckos? Well, you're from the Patriots. Like, don't you remember after how I won Super Bowls with them evening? So y'all think y'all are going to buy the league and say that we're going to be doing all this, like, you might as well call Brett Favre and tell him to throw it on NFL Blitz because he's out here trying to do things on my league. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like you bring in Chewbacca and he's catching for Wes Welker. And Wes Welker's running around with Tom Brady. And he's all like, guess what? Tom Brady is now working with Wes Welker to teach Tank Dale how to do stuff. And they're trying to do this on the Texans team. So the Texans are out here. It's like, well, guess what? Who's the one managing here? Well, Willie Walker doesn't want to get disrupted, but he says, hey, man, it's Charlie. And it's like, well, guess what? Where can we send this postal mail code address to where we can get this money in for the commission? And he's all like, well, how much does he get? He gets 27 million. He's like, Walker's like, well, guess what? I'm not here to argue all that. I got something to go on. So he's all like, yeah, he got the 27 million. Little do we know, Walker hasn't gained any positive reactions in the sense of currency in the last decade or so, because he don't take money. All that currency he's selling it for ain't even his money. He ain't even selling it. So he's out here like, you know what, people, this guy is not a bad guy, and he's getting 27 million. Well, how about we go do a split-o? And he's a split-o. It's like spaghetti-o, start coming down if you ain't going to get a split-o. And he's like, well, I want to learn more about these currencies and the energies that you're talking about. He's like, well, guess what? Charlie's like, well, guess what? Who's the man now? Charlie's the last guy I would ever ask to say that. He's like, now that's what happens when you get money, pride, and glory. And he's all like, I don't know if I'll pass on that. Walker's now getting a lesson from the grandfather of Charlie. He's like, see, man, money can change things. The next thing is like, what would you like for money? And he's like, I ain't got nothing for you. She's like, what you want to know is like, I want some database info so I can start to chop and doing this down back in my own house, because this lady out here cooking the same thing every day, I can give her a new recipe. He's like, well, how much does that matter to me? Because at the same time, it's like, how does it matter to me? It's like, let me tell you, let's get the meter out where you say, hey, let's get the slapos out and say Plaxico bursts with the thing where you know you're at the arcade, you go and that thing goes, and you get all these points. It's like, well, let's get that out and see what you got going on if you come question me about our factory. But the thing is, Charlie's just signed without waiting. So he's all like, hey, man, let's go back to Charlie's and see what's going on with Plaxico and see what's going on with this recipe because I'm trying to get split. And he's like, split it. It's like, we're going to leave the kids and the families or at the factories like that we brought in while I'm getting unattended. And we're going to go running around and figure out Charlie's living conditions. And then we're out there, and he's like, man, I'm going to go taste that soup. He tastes it, and it's like, instantly thinks regretfully that he's left the factory unattended. Because the one time they do that, people go on and they lose their mind because he's the director of operations. And then it's like, he's out here, and he's all like, this tastes good. It's like, well, he starts running out of there. He's instantly there. The Flash is like, this is unsuspected. SpaghettiOs are coming out of his hair. He's all like, what has happened here? It's like, well, we might as well go back to Argentina when we're talking about this new Sour Patch Rainbow ones that are like, it's that commercial, but people think it's fake. It's not fiction. So he's all like, well, yeah. And he's all like, well, welcome to the world. I'm halfway Johnny Depp, and I'm halfway Willy Wonka. And Plaxico Birds is about to catch that ball with the Sour Patch Tunkle. And it's like a tunkle. It's like, yeah, it's called a chocolate chip cookie dough with the chunkle. It's chunks inside. And he's like, well, that's not actually a Sour Patch Kid. That's a cookie dough with sour on it. And he's all like, let me tell you more about where we're going to get some of this later. So Charlie's all like, is this a new thing that you're going to be putting out? He's like, I'll take one for $27 million because I don't know any better. Because he's like, well, is that for sale yet? And he talks to his llamas. And he's all like, these llamas are like, you know the drill, man. Let me tell you about it, but you gotta go and not tell them about the llamas because you just asking questions and you don't know when you need the assistance. He's all like, well, let me get this going for you. And he's like, bring it in here. The llamas don't, we ain't doing that because in another world, we're out here giving gifts. We're giving people what they want in life, but they're doing something. So then they go and check who's the one putting houses and putting in paintings and stuff around these llamas, like there's some sort of level of event, and he's just protecting them. So when you bring out the Lion King, and he's like, Mufasa's holding the llama with an ostrich, and they're all like, whoa, what have you done with my friends? And he's all like, hey, I'm just an ostrich living in here, but hey, he happens to know that he was raised like Tarzan with llamas. It's an ostrich, Tarzan. And so he's sitting there with the What If and James the Giant Peach, and they're sitting there with Yoda, and Yoda's like, well, guess what, Mr. Tarzan, you think you look like you got some draped long hair, but you may look like you better. You look like a wolf-ass bird because that bird got a cover like you remind me of one. He's like, well, what are you talking about? It's like, well, if you look at an ostrich compared to Tarzan, yes, he don't got long hair, but he got the coveralls right there. And they're all like, that's what you remind me. He's like, Yoda, that is your imagination and stuff. Like, what are we going to do, Wonka? And Yoda's getting with Yonka, and they're like, yo, this is getting yonkers. Tyler, the thing has come on here, and he's all like, what have I done here? There's just a TV moment. It's like, do I start singing the songs out loud? It's like Yonkers is coming out. And Wonka's like, dude, you're competing about what is what in Yonkers and stuff. But we're all getting confused about where Wonka's mind is because we need to make sure that he's back at the office where all the people are taking advantage of his factory without his conditional help. He's all like, well, guess what? Y'all keep messing around. We're going to have to call it Flashpoint Paradox. And it's like, where's the paradox? Next thing you know, it's the Parrot Boys. The Parrot Boys have gone on, and they're like, there's somebody called the Parrot Boys, and they show up, and they're having a whole dude. They're all having like a bunch of people. And they're all like, somebody call on the Blair Boys. But the Parrot Boys aren't just boys, though, because they come in all the time with this, like, it's not just the parrot boys, man. We're the parrot people. And it's like parrot people and boys and girls. And we're all like, are we back in like Boys and Girls Club where we're going to go get the Girl Scout cookies? And it's like, we're not just, that's just a gender appreciation way of how to tell you how we came from and grown up. We're fooling each other out of both as parrots, boys, and girls. Because if you keep it as parrot boys and the parrot acts and flashpoints, you're going to have some guys going where they don't necessarily do. And that's just going to be like that. We're just wondering where they're going. So they're all looking around where it's like, hey, guys, they're now with Jack Sparrow that's in the shop right now at Fortnite. And he's all like telling him, hey, man, hey, Jack Sparrow keeps talking to him like he's got himself a new dude on the Maroon Mountain. And he's on the Maroon Mountain. And he's all like, hey, man, let me tell you something, man. So he tells him, bring it in. And the parrot's like, hey, man, let me tell you something, Jack. this entire time you thought that this was our man or a boy on it. That's just we're just going on with retirement a little bit. So sometimes I leave, and when I come back, it might be my wife or something like that. Don't get it twisted. And he is all like, don't get it twisted. I just made a bunch of Twizzlers out of rainbow colors and stuff. They're coming out into Black Super Burst's head. So they're running at flashpoint speeds, and all this time and scales are coming out, and some stuff is dripping out of place. And I'm like, what color is it? It's like, it happens to be a pink one. Who could it be? Does it taste salty or sweet? Well, be careful if it's salty, because when you get the sweet one, you're going to be a little bit excited after having saltiness. And then when you put them together, you have a huge boat of people where you're driving with parrot boys and girls. When you get that together, you may have that piece of gum from the zebra days where you pull them out, and it's like, what color is the zebra gum? It's a rainbow thing. And it's like, well, guess what? Now we're back into where the crime scenes of all these people at Dexter's laboratory comes in. It's like, hey, well, we come in to see if that's a Sour Patch Kid or not. That's not the way it usually is. So he's out here telling people about Sour Patch Kids, but that's actually a chewing gum thing. So time starts to, because somebody's out here pointing the obvious out, that it starts to unravel, but ravel together, like gravel inside of a place, walking inside of an introduction to the house. It's like, welcome to my house. Make sure you take your shoes off and you walk on the gravel before you enter your house, and you're about to doorbell ring and go, but you need to take your shoes off. It says a sign that says, hey man, take your shoes off when you're in my house. And it says like, but why we're gonna walk on the introductory gravel like Willy Wonka was doing with Charlie, where there was an interruption going on. So now they're running back, and Charlie's like, well, I gotta give him his money because he don't care about us. So we're out here eating the same soup and stuff. He's all like, dude, man, you lost your opportunity. He goes back knocking on the door. There's somebody that opens the door, and he's like, hey man, come on in, bring it in. We don't necessarily have doors here. This is not Nestle. And it's like Nestle. It's like Nestle ain't so bad because they have a door, but it's revolving. And it goes like this. Then you have Hershey's out there trying to take my business. And he's all like, well, this is what you're talking about, Charlie. You were talking about getting all this money and stuff. Now you know about Hershey and Nestle and everybody and stuff like that. And Yahoo out there trying to get somebody on the internet. And it's like, well, what have you been doing, Miss? While they came back, well, now I'm back at my accounting office because you're talking about financing, and I was getting eager to it. It's like currency, and now plastic birds are online, and they're all like, hey, I caught the ball, we're free. And it's like, then all these things, like my money is falling down the drain. Mr. Charlie Kid, did you get your money yet? From the cross-reference plastic birds universe and stuff like that. He's like, don't get too lost in the sauce. And there's a kid falling down from Frankfurt inside this chocolate lake. And he's all like, Frankfurt, Kentucky. It's like, dude, that's the new one, man. He got Mountain Dew. He thought I was Mountain Dew, but it is Mountain Dew in this place. It's like, how are we going to continue telling people what's this and that when I start to wonder who is this, these colors? And then they're all like, well, guess what? The universes have merged. And there's an immersion of love. And there's the chrome woman walking out of a plane of all these things, and she's walking around, and she's got this little bunch of oats on top of her head, and she's looking good. But where did she go is that when we're back in the day trying to question things, and I got my thumbs up out, like we're playing 7-Up, she's like, well, I got here and everything just changed. Just like, well, what are we going to provide for us? Because I got to win a game out there. And she's all like, well, guess what? Y'all going to have to take the discussion further. We're back in the paradox of 0 Point Sour Flash Kids. It's our Flash forums. So now we're on all these things, and we're out here looking for game facts to look for where we're going to find out how to fix the situation. So we're on GameFacts.com trying to be like, well, is there a hint of where we get to get this going? And it's like, are we in prehistoric times yet? Because we have gone back with Mrs. Chrome, and she's all saying, hey, do you know the difference between this? And they're all here rolling stones and stuff. They're rolling these stones, trying to save people. It's that game on Super Nintendo where they're rolling stones and stuff like that has an infinite rolling amount. It goes there and it keeps coming back and stuff. And then Indiana Jones out here, like, I met these cavemen the other day that they looked like they were playing from that one game. And I was all like, it was like, Hey Arnold. And it's like, what game? Hey Arnold didn't play no. They're playing Foursquare in the lobby when they're with their kids at the place. And it's all like, well, let's play this. It's like, I saw that face and wow, it's all this kid. It's the kid from from the show with the what's it called? What's that show called, man? wild thornberries. His son, he's now like looking like he's Tarzan, and Jonah's like, that was what I was trying to depict, but y'all thought it was an ostrich because the llamas are making the arrangements here, and they think the last time they'd seen somebody look like Tarzan was when the ostriches were in the business. And it's all like, but that's what I was thinking. He could be like the dude from Wild Thornberries and still run around. Don't matter if it's lions, tigers, or whatever. He's running around out there, and he don't care. He's a wild nut. But that's the thing is, Mr. Wonka knows about him already. We were all the way lost because Wonka knows him and knows how they're gonna get. He actually tried to send Mr. Thornberry all these berries that are happen to be non-tropical and things like that because he doesn't really hurt people with storms and hurricanes. So where we got Mr. Wild Thornberry's going around, he's got his Capri Suns and he's got his khaki shorts and he's got the stuff. It's just, well, like, guess what? That's so Raven has come on. And Mr. Thornberry's like, that's a raven out there with my thornberries. It's like, how do you have a patch of thornberries? And that's where the idea of Sour Patch Kids came from. Because Mr. Thornberry is so innocent. And Mr. Wonka saw him and he was all like, hey, you got patches? He's like, I got more than that. So if you got any questions, you can go take that somewhere else with somebody. Because that's not how we're going to go there. So now the kid's running around like Tarzan in the Wild Thornberries, and he's got his sister on the phone on the Game Boy. All of a sudden, Mr. Alderson's on. He's like, hey, how did we get here? He's like talking to this girl on there. He's like, hey, we need to go out and get out of the system. And she's like, well, how do we do that? Let's go and get a chug jug. She passes it to her mom, who's like, who's saying this? Like, I've been trying to get to you. This is the only way to talk to mom. And she's like, well, this is the thing. I know you're a married woman and stuff, but we need to make sure that that guy goes on and plays Tarzan because we ain't got a replacement. And he's like, replacement? Well, how much are y'all paying? Charlie comes in and says, hey, I got about like $5 million left because I haven't sold anything. Willy Wonka's like, well, throw in 2 more in there. He's like, why not? And he's like, because that's extra. And he's like, we ain't got none. He's like, these guys are out here eating all my food and stuff. It's like, well, there's the situation, man. Go back to where Plaxico Burress is out trying to catch things as like lobotomy. And he's all like, where do I get all this? And all of a sudden, Plaxico Burress comes out and he's got a concrete department called Plaxico's Plastics, where it's like, people keep thinking it's a concrete department, but it's plastic. Plaxico's out here saying, dude, I moved off from football, but I still have time to make tubs. And Pinkman comes in, he's like, I can't buy one from here. I can't tell the difference between ones that hydro originated or some ones from like NASA or something like that, like Mr. Heisenberg ones. And he's all like, well, guess what? I'm going to have to pass on that one on the universe. We're all like, whoa. And so basically, we're all like, not passing on it, but it's like, you see that it's there and it's available. And it's there, but we're all out here downplaying this animal kingdom and mixology of a situation where you got Super Dragon Ball Z, Powerball, lottery coming together, and all these things are getting inside the same universe. And it's like, well, how does it get inside the same universe with all no money? Wonka finally says, y'all talking about money here. So let me tell y'all something. Y'all come in here real quickly. Everybody doing this universal trek around our area, y'all think that this is downplayed because y'all keep talking about it in a casual manner. But the thing is, let me break it into you, and I'll tell you about it, how fast I am, because you got Miles Morales now mixed with Flash, and they're out here playing this game, act like they got slow pokes and stuff all around them and stuff. Y'all think this is going to be a freebie. And well, hey, have you heard about what happens to people that have freebies? And it's like, well, man, how do you know about that? I haven't even gave you any things before. He's like, well, you never know about that. Then all of a sudden, Mistress Llama, she comes out and she's like, hey, Mr. Walker, let me stop you right there. We have somebody pointed in that direction. There's some going on that radius. They're out there inside that courthouse in Weeping Woods. They're out there coming out of the courthouse on the other side where there's a leprechaun trying to convince people how to do stuff, but no one knows who it is. There's a Smurf outside that thinks he has candy bait, and that's called Haribo. And it's like, somebody got this mistaken, because that's not the way it rolls. I'm not Haribo. I'm out here with the Smurfing Toast. And I'm the Smurfing Toast. He's got this guy from the sweet, what is it called? The Sweet Times, where they go out there and they try to get records played for them. So now we're out here where it's like, it's a hard out here. We got Terrence Howard in because he's the one that was calling out Charlie, and he's all like, it's hard out here for weird. and I'm trying to get this money from my B. And it's like, dog, didn't you just hear what they said about saying the B word around here? So go on and clean your record up on top of the screen and let me play this beat. And it goes like, that's like, yeah, call 911 because we're gonna need to call in the people that are, hey man, how far we gotta go on what if, because my mind's about to get blown. That's why Check keep telling everybody he wearing the helmet for something else. He say my mind gonna get blown. Where am I at? So now we're back in the factory and where Arsenal is, and they're all at, Arsenal has made it onto the factories. They're out here was like, well, Wilco's like, hey man, how did y'all get onto my team, over here? Well, we come in here because this gentleman out here from Frankfurt was saying that we got something. It's like that dude from Kentucky said that we got some going on. And it's like, well, guess what? Let's go. How's he doing this? Well, have you seen the show Limitless? And it's like, Limitless? Yeah, I've seen that one. It was supposed to be called Limitless. And it was like, yeah, but they gone and mixed it up. He's gone on and grown up because with his father was holding down the fort down in Fortnite back in the day in the courthouse. And he was like holding it down in the courthouse. It was like, yeah, man, there's a guy out here trying to con people about stuff. And it's like, get that stuff going, man. Let me tell you about it. So he comes on in here and says, let me bring this in, Mr. Calvin Harris. Now Calvin Harris is at the DJ booth and he's playing music for everybody in the woods. And the thing is, they get into Alice in Wonderland now because they're stuck in this Alice in Wonderland neighborhood. There's pelicans running around and they're all running instead of flying. And it's like, why are you running when you can just fly there? It's like, well, we ran into these oysters the other day and they were all these hickory-dickory docks. And they were like back in dirty docks where they used to land. There was a little place where you could look out, there was a camera. And they was like, hey, I'm out there, we're on top of that cliff mountain. Well, how about you get there? You just walk there. But that's what happens when you got heavy boots and you walk into the water. You fall down to the ground, you got your submarine outfit out with gravel, and you're walking in, it's like, can I get the door for you? And the doorbell out there. So when I speak like this, I don't normally speak like this, but dude, if y'all have me going on like this, the movie's about to come out in about like 2 or 3 hours out there where they got the show going on. It's Deadpool 3 Marvel. So basically, if Deadpool does one scenario in that movie where it's going to criticize a little bit, where he goes and sees the time loop, he's going to get something where he's going to call the prison prize. The prison prize is when it's escalated 10 billion times because in prisons, when you're doing stuff out there, it's like you can't beat the code and stuff in the time loop. And the time corp's like, in prison, where's that at? It's like, we don't have that around here, we have everything. All of a sudden, that lady from Chrome is now wearing gold, and she's all wearing this outfit, trying to chase Mr. Peter. He's all Peter, it's all Quill. It's like, I got her this time. It's like, oh, I didn't get it. It's like, it's like the Star Warriors game on the arcade. And it's all like, where are we gonna go? She's all like, how have you failed, man? You're the one that's supposed to be on the architect of the Star Trek team with the gold and things. I'm country cover. I can't be wearing Chrome in front of these people. So I'm wearing the gold, and she's all having this whole conversation that now she's been in the cinematic universe and back in the video games doing all this. With Daquan. She's all with Daquan. Daquan got 2 pump out coming out with her. It's like, hey, well, this is right to pump at the Boston. It's like, hey, how about we get the double pump? It's like, have you heard about my double pump? You pump with this and pull out the heavy sniper and do it like that. And then when you got the snipers when you're going on, you got to make sure that you got something going on when there's people in the system. So now I have to make sure that everybody's okay because we're doing the movie for Deadpool 3. Wolverine is coming up about how many hours? About 2 or 3. Like Jordan was doing when he was doing the Space Jam flying. But before he goes in there, they get the flying works going out, and they're like, hey, whoop-de-doo, we're about to do I Believe I Can Fly. And it's like, I believe I can fly. It's like, well, dude, and all of a sudden the movie The Fly 1 and 2 come out where the dude's the Fly. He's going to try to teleport himself with the Fly out there. He's all like, wait, man, what's going on here? That guy from Jurassic Park makes an entrance. He's like, I'm working at Jurassic Park with my. So if you want to continue getting on the imaginary projections about where we're going to go, about where we're doing and stuff with passenger in the back when I'm driving, we're going to have to get a little drastically. And it's like, dress, Lee. Well, you're going to have to go clean your ass, Lee. Because that's not the way it's going to be around here. You're not going to be telling nobody what to do out there and there. This is just let me grab this boats and stuff and moving in this direction because now we're talking with the Joker. And I'm acting as Batman. And he's like, Batman's out there when he's keeping all these stuff around. And the llama's come and step in. It's like, hey, I got a lockout for these people. And he's like, what are you talking about? Somebody says, what are you talking about? It's like, I got a lockout. It's a lock. Mr. Loki has got in and started coming in here. And he's all like, I've tried to control myself. And he's like, dude, what's happened, Mr. Loki? And it's like, I have gone on the actual thing you're talking about in Marvel Universe, man. He's like, and I'm trying to make sure that that doesn't get disrupted based on proprietary information. And y'all out here making me having to do technical duties while I'm trying to get the Maroon 5 coordinated to become one of the greatest singing songs of all time. So one thing is Loki's out here and he's starting to tell people, guys, all this time, y'all thought I was Wonka. I'm Loki. And he's all like, Wonka's Loki. And everybody's like, well, we don't know if he's a Loki or not. And then all of a sudden, there's this, one of these things going down. It's Ace Ventura. He's got a Loki going down from the Nepal. And he's all like, hey, man, I heard you call me. And he's all like, well, can I tell you where that is? And he's like, can I tell you exactly the GPS coordinates on the perspective? He's all like, well, where are you? Because you're going to try to get somebody, trying to get me, try to do this thing when I'm with the Africans out here. They're going to try to get everything about how I'm going to be the tribal leader, and you're trying to tell me from the tribal leader that's going on and to in me, and you're trying to tell me, come on and listen and bring it in here. So the dang Star Trooper comes in, Stormtrooper comes in, bangs his head on the helmet, and he's all like, well, we found the lightsaber here, and I brought it to the guy that I thought it was, Mr. Palpatine out there. Yoda's been instantly transmitted all the way back to Mr. Palpatine's desk, and he's just sitting there trying to act like he's Palpatine. He got Palpatine under his desk, and they bring his like, sir, and he hits his helmet again, and he's got himself a lightsaber, a purple one. And Mr. Wonka and Loki are like, well, I want my sword, and I want my, like, thing. And all the people, like, the llamas look at him, and they're all like, hey, Loki, why are you telling everybody that you're Wonka? Because that's what you said that you don't want us to do. It's like, this ain't a game anymore, llamas. I can tell you about my stuff, but I can't tell you about my stuff. So all this thing is like Wonka's out here trying to keep Loki into connection, but Thor's out here saying what's going on with my brother. Odin is out there trying to take everybody's control about, like, guys, y'all need to settle it down here. That gold woman ain't what you suspect is P. It's like, where are you meeting all this stuff? We're going to have to go meet on the canyons in Arizona where the desert comes out. So I can tell you more about this with the Redskins, what they were running around with the Washington team. And they all had monuments outside, and they're all like, well, where is this going on? It's like we're in the Wild West with Acme, but we're not really with them. So we're just trying to get our property rights fixed out. So it's like the property rights, that's what I've been working on. So anybody out here trying to fix this what if and be like, wait, what is this? Yeah, it sounds like this is like toned down, like whatever. This is a huge deal. So now Loki is like, hey guys, this is a huge deal, and because he's trying to act like Wonka, he's like, let me bring it in for ya. And it's like, well, guys, I got y'all all in here, man. I've been working at Time Corp and I can't keep settled down. He's like, keeps like hiccuping. He's got like Tourette's, man. He's got this problem where he's got time Tourette's. He's got the TT, the milk of the TT from Game of Thrones, where he's got to go like this, like, do you have that? And he's like, he's got the milk of it. It's like the creme brulees. So he's all like, the creme, I heard about the bag of chip with creme on it. I passed on it the other day. He was all like, those things are going off in this society. And they're all like, let's go put that thing right on top of the covers. And it's all like, well, how about we do that one day? But for right now, we got something we got to work on for a little bit. So one time I tried to tell dude, I can't believe I'm talking like this the whole time, but I gotta tell you, the movie's coming out over there. So when you start wondering about who did what back in the day, you go tell them, hey man, there's monuments out there that got stuff stationary. And it's like, well, do you remember that that's not supposed to be what's happening out there? Next thing you know, there's this thing coming out of the ground all over the world and stuff. And Justin Bieber says, hey, man, hey, have y'all heard about what's going on here in my area? We don't do all that around here. We chill. So he's like, I'm about to sing you a song. And he's like, I keep my peaches out in Florida. And James comes out with these tunnels. And he's all like, dude, they have gone on and taken my area. They're talking about building inside the peach. And it's like, but they are not building above my peach. They're building inside of it. They're building tunnels. And it's like, I have never asked anybody to do this. I can hear them rustling under my ass when I'm sitting there watching the shows. And he's all like, dude, somebody's got to go in here one day and do something about it because I ain't got time for all this. Man, I do know negativity. It's like, hey, hold up, Yoda. Let me put on my studio real quick. And it's James and the Giant Peach, and they're out here. Somebody's building inside this giant peach. People are building tunnels and stuff, but they're not supposed to be building it above the ground. And it's like, can I ask you a simple common sense question, gentlemen? It's a little hot and musty in there. Is there something I can do? Because we had thought that y'all were building something on top of it, but the guys are out here trying to build a sideways one of these things that they found out in the post, and he was out there like, hey, he's got the wash the post out, and it's like, hey man, let's go get that pool of water out. And they're walking, chilling in by that pool, and there's like this thing coming out the ground, and some guy was like, man, that's the thing we want to put sideways. And it's like, what are you gonna do with that? It's like, we ain't gonna do nothing wrong. We keep trusting everybody and stuff. Don't trust it. So he goes and they do this, and nobody knows about it. And we come one day, Willie Walker's like, man, I hear something going under my factory, man. What can this be? Low-key's like, man, you ain't taking over. This is my stuff. And he's like, this is the time crunch. Willie Walker's like, dude, come on, bruh. I'm the one that be doing the imaginatory things. We're doing where you're gonna go out to what ifs department to see if we're not gonna stop trying to help. And it's like, well, do you know what that means? So we're back in Fortnite where we're getting these things going in the woods. And in the woods are starting to be like Arkansas. Now it's starting to get a little musty, steamy. There's somebody out there at Steamy Stacks. She don't even got a telescope, and she's looking out, and she sees thousands of llamas outside, and she's like, who's out there in my yards? It's like, basically trying to tell you this is getting a little bit epic. So next thing, people are landing at Stevie Stacks. There's steam coming out, but she doesn't really consider the fact that there's people working at the factory in Blush in the same kind of area, but they kind of polar in the areas. So she's all like, let me find these, and they're trading. The dude dropping off these Wonka stuff. We still don't know who it is, but he do know how to get trading going on. So when we start working and get everything considered, in sense of Deadpool bringing Wolverine, you tell people, hey, come on in here, bring it in, because there's Marvel coming out. But y'all keep downplaying this stuff that's cross-referencing every cinematic and television and every universe. When there's one database of a system comes in, he's like, hey, you guys, let me tell y'all something real quick. Y'all, because y'all think y'all are TV or cinematic universe, don't mean no bet, that don't mean no nothing. It's Grandpa Camera. Grandpa Camera comes out, he's like, hey man, y'all been using me as a camera per minute. People say, dude, these films from back in the day and stuff like that. Why y'all going out here trying to do this? It's like, I ain't no transgender, I'm Grandpa. It's like, what do you mean? How was there transgenderism back in the day? Dude, he's like, well, you don't remember Al Capone and all that stuff? You think that stuff wasn't going on? Well, let me tell you something real quick. Bring it in here. Bring it in now. As fast as you can. It's like, well, you still ain't gonna get me in the past, in the present, in the future with the cameras and stuff. So we can just sit there and just think like, hey, man, you ain't gonna get somebody like that. So when things start changing colors, and he's like, well, what about the colors go from black and white? He's like, well, I've already been there already. So he's all starting to question his ideas of where can we be. So we go into Fortnite replay mode, and there's like a gentleman out there trying to construct these marvelous scenes of how he was able to take on somebody with no spike traps. He's all like, man, he got in full box, no spike trap, and it got him. He's out here trying to do this stuff, but he's also trying to make a good presentation for the people on the outside. So people show up inside the clouds, and they're all like, man, where are we at? We're like, whoop-de-doo, we're back in here. We're now stuck inside of a place called Luigi's Mansion, but in the bright side. And it's all like this huge mansion and stuff. And they're walking around Stevie Stacks, and they're all like, dude, this ain't a mansion. This is a factory. People are misconfigured. People are